Welcome back to the channel. This is Trendy Storm and you are watching second and final part of What If Kid Naruto was saved by Fem-Kyuubi. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
I'm not so pride-stricken that I don't realize when I am out of control, and I can tell you are under the same one I was when I was out of control. Kid, I feel the only way to stop him is by going all out, as we planned. I didn't think there would be another option, so you're right, there. Why don't we show this out-of-control Biju what a true Biju and human team can make? Kitsune replied. Kitsune prepared his hands and formed a ball out of black energy, gravity cannon. Though Sanbi was pushed back slightly, the ball of energy remained in his palm. Even at 50%, that gravity cannon does wonders. No kidding. Flames danced along Akane's tails, saying, "Okay, my turn." Kaden. Phoenix Fox Flare. The flames erupted from the tips, making a giant flaming bird that bound itself to itself. A phoenix. Kitsune struck Sanbi with several more gravity cannon shots after the phoenix struck him squarely in the face. Although Sanbi was being pushed back, he was not suffering any serious injuries. He suddenly had the thought, damn it. We're not doing much to him. Wait, can't we use him? Who? Gonta. You know the one that got bored at your last interrogation. Oh yeah. I forgot about that. Kitsune demonstrated several hand signals. As a black cloud appeared in the sky, the words, "Summoning Jutsu. Gonta of the Archfiends." In front of them, a gigantic figure descended and landed. Gonta, you want to take on the Sanbi alongside us? With lightning all over his body, Gonta responded, as long as I get to have some fun, I don't care. If Sanbi's the only target, then leave him to me, while you provide long range. Think you can handle that? Did you think I trained him for no reason? Gonta laughed. No, I suppose not. Now, let's have some fun. Gonta rushed in Sanbi's direction. Naruto chose to launch a few gravity cannons at Sanbi while Akane was flinging flames from her tails. They were greatly perplexed by the fact that Naruto did not hit Gonta as frequently as Akane did. In the meantime, Kushina, Mei, and Kakashi were observing the battle between Naruto's summoned powerful beings. The first person to speak about it was Kushina. No way. He summoned Akane and that other one? And still have chakra for the gravity cannon? Kakashi defeated another. Remember Kushina, even if Akane isn't in his body, he can still draw on her power. As for the other one, I think that is Gonta. The one from Akane's interrogation on Danzo. Kushina severed the head of another adversary. Come to think of it, he did want some fun. Fighting the Sanbi would be fun in his book. Mei pulled out another. Kushina, are you sure that he should be able to do this? I mean, even for a Jinchuriki this is pushing it. Kushina gave a nod. Let's leave Yagura to them. Between the three of them, I'm sure that he can do it. Although, if he passes out afterwards, I wouldn't be surprised. Returning to Naruto, Naruto has continued to fire without losing any chakra and has not yet released the gravity cannon. Akane, I remember you said the gravity cannon is an S rank, but I don't see why. It's because once you form it, no more chakra is needed. It's more dangerous than most of its caliber, thus it is S rank instead of C rank. Replied Akane. Think that thing can contain an Amari? Why not try? Akane began to gather chakra in her mouth and yelled, everyone, get back now. If you don't, and get caught in this next blast, you're dead. Kitsune had used both hands to form a larger gravity cannon. I'm ready, Akane. Gonta, get out of the way. Gonta's eyes widened as he turned to face them. He vanished and reappeared behind them without a word. Kyubiko Amari. Max Gravity Cannon. While Akane used a full blast Amari from her mouth, Naruto sent a powerful blast directly at Sanbi no Yagura. The Amari and the gravity cannon struck simultaneously, resulting in a large explosion that did not produce a shockwave. Some of the others actually witnessed what transpired. After expanding, the explosion abruptly started to retreat. It seemed to be being drawn in by something, then condensing and exploding once more. No follow. Up explosion occurred. Rather, the Sanbi's shattered form was scattered in mounds. Sanbi imploded a few seconds later. Yagura was all that was left. Still wearing the Kitsune mask, Naruto landed directly beside him. So Yagura, what do you have to say for yourself? It was Yagura who coughed. I thank you. You broke the genjutsu on us. No problem. Now how about getting you healed up? No. I can't. Face my people like this. I will retire. Mei Terumi. Someone like her, she could pull it off. Kitsune asked, are you sure about this? Yagura gave a feeble nod. One favor. End it. Quickly. I can't bear the thought of living now. With a nod, Kitsune materialized a sword in his hand. One question. Who put the genjutsu on you? Yagura gave him a look. Behind his mask, Kitsune's eyes widened as he said, his name is Madara. Uchiha. Madara. Yagura, I will end your suffering. I will kill Madara for this. I swear, on all that is good and just, he will pay. Yagura gave a feeble nod. Kitsune stabbed Yagura in the heart, saying, do it. I swear to get him. Even if it means my death in the end. For you, Sanbi, and Akane. Mei, Ao, Kakashi, and Kushina went to stand next to him. Damn. If you can do all of that, I wouldn't be surprised if you could take on other Jinchuriki, Ao said. Mei Terumi. Yagura's final words. He wants you as the next Mizukage. He is sorry for what he did while under the influence of the genjutsu. The eyes of everyone widened. All Kakashi did was look at him. What do you mean? Kitsune examined Yagura's corpse. Yagura and Sanbi were under the same genjutsu Akane was when she attacked Konoha. From that, I figured Madara was behind it. Turns out I was right. That makes 3 beings I am going to kill Madara for. There's bound to be more, as well. Both Kakashi and Kushina clenched their fists. Madara is going to pay for this. Mei noticed Kushina's anger growing as she looked at her. Kushina, calm down. You aren't any use to anyone when you're pissed. Kitsune gave her a look. She's right, Mom. Besides, we don't even know where Madara is. However, now I think I know what he's after. The Biju. Kakashi gazed at him intently. He would have gaped at him but for his mask. Kitsune. Are you sure about that? In response, I nodded. His thoughts drifted to his traveling companions. If he's after both Akane and the Sanbi, I have a feeling he'll be going after the other Jinchuriki, as well. Specifically, Yugito, Gaara, and Kurabi. I'll keep them safe. Even if I end up dead. Akane, Gonta, we're done here. After nodding, Akane left in a cloud of smoke. Gonta approached him while brandishing a bracer. Take this with you. I managed to kill off a shitload of boredom and stress with that fight. It goes on the off arm, and is best used in close combat. Put it on, and charge chakra into it. On his left wrist, Kitsune placed it. A shield resembling a spider web emerged after he charged chakra into it. Chakra shield. Nice. It also doubles as a bow and arrow, using chakra alone. There's not much to worry about. I have a feeling that if you help out a few of the other demons, fiends, and the like, they'll give you something as well. You're a good man in my book. After giving him a nod, Kitsune let go of the shield. Thank you, Gonta. In an instant of darkness, Gonta vanished, saying, Don't worry, kid. I hope we see each other again someday. I'm out. Well, that's that. Mei, Yagura's final request for you. Will you accept it? Kitsune responded. Kitsune nodded as Mei said, I do. No one else will know of the genjutsu, other than those here. Kitsune raised an eyebrow at 3 people and said, I have one more request. Mind taking care of me while I'm out? Then, with his sword already gone, he fell. Knowing what he meant, Kushina caught him. Always pushing himself to the limit. Mei, what do you think? Do you mind if we rest up here? We have a ways to go, and we'll need some supplies later. Mei gave him a look. I don't see why not. In any case, I think we will want the people that helped bring Kirigakure together in the village. I also have a feeling that he will be in somewhat good condition after a while. Regardless of which side you fought on, they all nodded and returned to the forces that have since discovered him as Kiri's savior. Kushina was lying on Naruto's back because he had fainted. 3 days later, Naruto awoke in what appeared to be a medical facility. He let out a moan, not again. There was nobody there when he looked around. He couldn't see them, but it looked like there were 2 people outside the door. He appeared to be in good health and was aware of everything that occurred. Akane? Not yet, Naru.kun. You still have a bit to go. You know I'm only trying to look out for you. Yes, I am aware of that. My mother's absence still surprises me, now. Well, you have been out of it for 3 days. Last time it was 5. Kakashi appeared as the door opened at that precise moment. Kakashi, on the other hand, is another story. Naruto said, his mask already sealed. Hey. Kakashi smiled and said, so you're awake already? 2 days earlier than last time. So I heard. How's everything in the village? Things are getting better. Although, Mei did want to see you when you woke up. Do you think you're ready for that? Eventually, Naruto was able to shake his head. Not a good idea. I'm not back to normal yet. I'm gonna try getting some more rest. Maybe that will help. Kakashi gave nod. You think I should tell them? Naruto grinned before nodding off, saying, in about an hour or so. Kakashi let out a sigh. This is gonna be a long time. Well, at least he wants me to give him an hour beforehand. Kakashi took a seat and tried to come up with a reason for this. The following day when Naruto awoke, Kakashi, and his mother were already there. The latter was the first to speak. Why didn't you want us to know you woke up? On the bed, Naruto sat upright. You know that I wouldn't have told him that if my body could handle it. Unfortunately, it couldn't. I wouldn't have been able to move, and since Kakashi-sensei was in here, I told him to wait before he said anything. I know it seems a little selfish, but it's necessary to get some rest every now and then. Especially, in the state I was in. Kakashi and Kushina both nodded. Mei simply gazed at him. You know Kushina, he's a lot cuter than I thought. Don't even think about it, Mei. You're too old for him. Old? You're over 20 years old. He's only 5. Do you honestly believe I would say that, knowing you hate being called old, if you weren't planning on seducing my son? Kushina raised her eyebrows. Mei let out a sigh. Sorry. I guess I can't really say much there. Anyway, I'm here on business. Naruto, the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist wish to train you with a sword, since you already have one. Or at least meet you, if you don't want any training from them. It's their way of thanking you for getting rid of the biggest threat to Kirigakure. Naruto gave a headshake. My body may be able to move, but I'm in no condition to train right now. As much as I'd like to train under them with a sword, right now is not a good time to do so. I'll settle for meeting them for now. I have to move about, otherwise things will go awkward with my body. Good choice. Your body is in pretty good condition right now, but you're right about the training. It's not quite ready for that. I give you a few hours of moving about, and then you'll be good. I appreciate the heads up. At that, Akane laughed and interrupted herself. Naruto sarcastically said, well then, let's go. Can't sit around all day, can I? They met up with those who wanted to meet Naruto after a few minutes, during which he was still a little dazed. I only see 6. One of them died in the war, but other than him, everyone is here, Mei responded. A man with a gigantic kabikiri, I believe a head cutter, on his back exclaimed, Zabuza Momochi. A man who appeared to be a shark said, Kisame Hoshigaki. A younger looking man said, Aldous Hizuka. There appeared to be 2 handles on his sword. Either that or he was carrying 2 swords. Suigetsu Hoshigaki. A.N. I'm giving him Hoshigaki because I don't know his real last name. This is the same Suigetsu who goes with Sasuke in Shippuden and is the youngest at 8 years old. They all introduced themselves, but the fact that a 5-year-old outdid them didn't sit well with them. A.N. I don't mean to come across as lazy, but you could say that I didn't come up with any other suitable names because I don't know Kirigakure very well. Zabuza gave him a back pat. You know kid, I'm one of the ones that wanted to train you with a sword, but since you have an Uzumaki with you, I don't think you'll have any trouble with that. They are swordmasters, after all. Kushina grinned at the praise. Zabuza glanced at her and then back at him. Thank you, Zabuza. However, that boy is my son. Kisame gave her a look. Who's his father? If I told you that, you'd think he'd be even more overkill than he already is, replied Kushina. You know, Naruto said, don't even consider it, Kisame. There is no reason for you to do any of that, regardless of the fact you want to know who my father is. Besides, I am sure you already know him. By reputation, if not in person. What do you mean by that kid? Kisame asked, glancing at him. Yellow is the only clue I'll give you. Kisame was left wondering what Naruto had said, and it wasn't until 5 minutes later that he realized it. Aside from that, you're on your own, he said before turning to face the others. Holy fucking shit. While everyone else in the vicinity gawked at him, Naruto simply grinned and said, well, he figured it out. It's best if you don't mention that, Kisame, Kushina said, glancing first at him and then at Kisame. You will not have a favorable relationship with the Uzumaki if you do. You think I'd be foolish enough to tell anyone that? Kisame asked, simply staring at her. Hey, I have a suggestion for him. Orange is made up of red and yellow, right? They ought to call him Orange Flash if he is able to master his father's signature jutsu. I apologize, but I'm content with what I have. Besides, I haven't figured out the mechanics yet. Before we can accomplish that, we have another stop on our itinerary, Naruto stated without looking back. Kisame gazed at him, saying, you understand that staring is rude, don't you? He frightened Kisame by saying, "Whoa," from behind him. "Clone of Shadow, niece." The clone and the other one both dispelled. "Thank you." Naruto was not present. Kushina groaned and said, "Not again. We ought to be accustomed to it by now," Kakashi said, glancing at her. "Let's go find him, please." Kushina took hold of his shoulder and said, "That is unnecessary. You can tell he was bored. He resembles Minato too much for such things." Kakashi sighed. "I apologize, May. It's likely to happen again, so I can't say it won't. He dislikes honorifics, just like his father. I can't say I enjoy it, but I suppose it's a good thing." "How so?" Zabuza asked, glancing at her. "You could say that it means he doesn't care whether what he did deserves a medal," Kakashi said, glancing at him. "He will not desire a medal. Minato Sensei most definitely didn't. In fact, he claimed he didn't need any medals and turned them down. To put it mildly, it was unexpected, and since he was his son, I would assume that quality was inherited by him." From a nearby tree, Naruto spoke, "It was good to meet you all, but I have other things I need to talk about. Though, as I mentioned, I have things to think about. I'm not particularly bored here. I do know how to use it, by the way, Mom." Naruto wrapped himself in a tornado and vanished. Kushina. "We'll see you later, May," said the woman, nodding. "We must go ascertain his meaning." They stayed for a couple of days and thought it was much better than before, and when they left, May had to send an honor guard in advance because they realized Naruto was already gone. Kushina informed her that he had left hours earlier and promised to wait for them both at the docks where they planned to go to their final destination, which would contain the trip's final piece. When he was awake and not on the move, Naruto was essentially practicing any jutsu he could in his mindscape, along with his taijutsu and kenjutsu. It took him nearly 5 months to complete everything and get everything he needed out of it. With 3 months remaining in the journey, they set out to find Tsunade. He once sensed something strong close by while he was training, so he stopped right away and went to the source, where he saw a blonde woman who appeared to be in her late 20s with a brunette beside her holding a pig. Since he was already aware of Tsunade, he assumed the blonde was her, and he spiked his chakra, which brought Kushina and Kakashi right to him. "Naruto, what is that?" Kakashi questioned, and his answer was a direct remark to the blonde. "Tsunade Senju, if I had to guess. Her chakra levels are far higher than yours, Kakashi." "Sensei." Kushina's eyes widened as they both gazed at her. "How did you find her? I was unable to even sense her. I can tell when someone is concealing their chakra because of Akane. She is currently doing so in addition to employing some form of genjutsu. I'm not sure what the genjutsu is for, though, because the two are unrelated." Both Kushina and Kakashi nodded, and Naruto took Kushina's arm and said, "I think it's time I have a little chat with her." "There's no need to pursue her. You used to be good friends with her, didn't you?" Naruto inquired. Kushina gave him a look and said, "Yes, but why?" "She became aware of my chakra spike. If you were to spike yours, what would happen? Also, since my chakra is similar to yours, she might think that we are related and searching for her," Naruto said, causing eyes to widen. "I don't understand why you must raise such valid points. However, you're correct." Tsunade stopped dead in her tracks, her face turning pale as Kushina spiked her chakra. Looks like she noticed. They both leapt to their feet and headed directly for the source. "It's been a long time, Kushina." Kushina's voice made Kakashi and Naruto shudder and retreated from her as she said, "Tsunade. Why are you upset, Kushina?" Tsunade was taking a step back. Naruto observed the direction of everything. "Gravity cannon, Mom. You don't want to kill her," Kushina said after feeling a force strike her and discovering she was immobile. "Do you recall? The elderly man desired for her to return alive." "Why can't I move?" Kushina asked Naruto as she turned to face him. Naruto was simply staring at her. "First off, I'll only release you if you swear not to hurt her for abandoning me, because she was told I was dead." After flinching at that, Tsunade heard him say, "Wait, you're still alive?" "As I mentioned, the gravity cannon does more than just knock things back and remove shockwaves from explosions," Naruto said, nodding without turning to face her. "By placing them in a gravity field, I can also use it to control someone who is losing control of their rage. You can't move because of this." "Why?" Kushina glared at him. "Because even though she wasn't present, you know that she wouldn't be able to do anything if she found out I was dead. Besides, it was enough that you got back to me. I discovered who my mother is, and I was glad to see her." Before turning to face Tsunade, Naruto told her, "You still need to work on your temper, and just because she thought I was dead doesn't give you the right to kill her for it. As for you, I know it's a lot to process when you learn that everyone you've ever been close to passed away. Your level of sadness has reached its limit. It's time to accept it and move on. There is no time or life to wait for you. Which option do you have? With a look of surprise on her face, Tsunade gazed at him and said, I don't know, okay. I'm currently in a state of shock after learning that my best friend and her son are still alive after 5 or nearly 6 years. Tsunade's voice changed from one of fear to one of coldness. That Danzo is going to get a head full of my fist if I go back. I'll come along, if only to satiate Kushina, but I'm not sure if I can stand that damn council. Then you might want to hold that fist back, Naruto said with a sly smile. Kakashi Sensei, my mother, and 2 of her friends, Makoto Uchiha and Hikari Hyuga, destroyed Danzu's body. We found him guilty of numerous crimes and immediately put him to death. Tsunade examined him and saw that he was sincere. All right, then I won't mind returning with you. Kushina calmed down and stared at Tsunade as she said, I'd be willing to help out with your training, if only to make up for lost time, and probably give Kushina a reason to rein in her anger. You know, Mom, things are going to be a lot better, and it might be a good idea I learn as much as I can from this trip, Naruto said, turning back to her after sensing it. What are your thoughts? She could come back with us and make it up to you like this. One day she gets over her hate for the village, I get better, and you get something out of her. Everyone benefits. I see where you're going with this, and I'm glad you did say all of that, Kushina said after finally becoming completely calm. But did you really need to put me in this situation? Yes. You were probably going to kill her because you were losing control of your rage. I hit you with that for that reason and only that reason. Naruto released the gravity, preventing her from moving. Alright, so. On that, I still have some work to do. How about we start? Naruto grinned and said, I couldn't agree more. Kushina said, perhaps I could find a few things to calm the rest of my nerves. By the way, Tsunade, are you familiar with poisons? Yes, but why? Because I'll require some advice regarding antidotes. Do you think you could assist me with that? Naruto nodded as he asked. It will not be simple. For that, one needs to be precise. I'll assist you, but your control must be terrible considering your potential chakra levels. I was told precisely that nearly a year ago. Since then, I've improved significantly. If this is any indication, Naruto extended his hand, palm facing up, and a spiraling ball materialized in the palm. Do you like my progress? How did you get that this quickly? Tsunade asked, staring at the Rasengan in his hand. And how old are you? I have 2 slave drivers for senseis, if you will. I wouldn't have advanced this far in any of my abilities if it weren't for shadow clones. We still have roughly a month left before returning to the village, Naruto said, absorbing the Rasengan back into his hand. I also have Akane to thank for that. At this point, I've learned almost everything I can from them. They all nodded and returned to a nearby town to spend some time at an inn. With only 2 weeks remaining and still in Fire Country, he had a month left to train, practice seals, and create more Hiraishin seals on his shuriken. However, something happened to Naruto, causing him to faint and his eyes to bleed. Only Kushina knew about it, and not even Tsunade was aware of what was happening. Her only comment, I didn't think it would come this early, prompted a flurry of inquiries from Tsunade and Kakashi, none of which were addressed. For several days, Naruto remained in bed, and neither Kushina nor Kakashi were able to enter his mindscape. They were being shut out by Akane. Tsunade was growing anxious. Kushina, I know that you know what's going on, so what is it? To confuse Tsunade and Kakashi, Kushina remarked, a bloodline. His father's. I didn't think it would activate, and especially not this early. An ocular bloodline. Minato. Sensei didn't have one, or if he did, he never used it. That's because he never activated it. He knew of it, but he couldn't use it. I know of a few details regarding it, but not that many. I can't even teach him how to use it. We also only have 2 weeks before we have to get back to the village. Kushina responded with a sense of disappointment. The mindscape of Naruto Akane was beside Naruto, who was unconscious. I'm sorry Naruto-kun. Your mother doesn't realize this, but what you're gaining isn't your father's bloodline. It won't alter your DNA, but it will hurt like a bitch when you first use it. The body of Naruto twitched. Naruto. The typical cerulean eyes were not the ones that opened when he did. His eyes had 3 slits and were a deep violet color. There were 3 slits. One was black, one was red, and the third was white. Both eyes had it. Are you okay, Naruto? Naruto gave Akane a look. At that point, she felt a little afraid of him. Why are you so scared, Akane? I've got a headache right now, but other than that, I feel fine. Your eyes change, and it's not something I think is a good idea to use that much, Akane stated to him. After creating a mirror, Naruto examined his own eyes. He noticed that they weren't like them. What the hell happened? I don't know why, but you activated a separate bloodline. The thing is, you don't have the DNA for it naturally. I don't see why you activated it, and even though I didn't change your DNA to accommodate it, it seems fine, and completely adjusted to your blood. Your mother's clan had an ocular bloodline that hasn't been seen in over a century. Your father's clan also had one, thus making you unable to gain either of them. Now, an old eye has surfaced, and it's in you. Akane continued. Naruto gave Akane a look. What's it called? The Hunter Eye, something not even a kitsune has used before. It's been ages since anyone had that, but for anything to make sense, you'd probably need to talk to someone that has run into it at some point in their life. My father is the only one that I know of. As to how he did, I don't know. The Hunter Eye. Nice. Do you think it would be easy for me to ask him? Not until you're older, so until then, I'd suggest you not reveal the fact you have it at all. I only know that it will help you more than anyone can predict. Sharingan is virtually useless, and it can make the Byakugan useless as well. As to how, even I don't know. I can only go by the stories my father told me ages ago. Naruto gave this a nod. Well then, I've got a lot to figure out. You know that I learn better through application than explanation. By the way, I've been blocking out both your mother and Kakashi during this time. I didn't want them in here to disturb you for the time being. You understand why, right? Naruto smiled at her. Well, I think it's time I head back out. You think I should show my mother? Not yet. Just tell her that it's not the bloodline of the Namikaze clan that activated. Since not even I have all the information, it's a good idea to keep it a secret from anyone that doesn't know of it, got it? Naruto exited his mindscape and said, I got it. Don't worry, we'll wait before anything else happens, or anyone else finds out. Later. Outside. Is that really everything, Kushina? I don't think it's a good idea. Tsunade responded. Naruto's eyes opened. His eyes were the same as usual. What's up? Naruto asked, drawing 6 glances his way. What's up? What do you mean? Your mother was very concerned about you, exclaimed Tsunade. Naruto gave a headshake. There was no reason for that. Akane gave the full situation, but not even she has all the information on it. It's not from my father or my mother. That brought them all to their knees. She told me that the Uzumaki clan once had a special eye that was lost some 100 years ago. The Namikaze clan did as well, but that was lost before my father came around. What I awakened is different, according to Akane. It is known as the Hunter Eye, and not even she knows everything about it. So that's why I think it's a good idea to keep it a secret. Kakashi's expression froze. Tsunade and Kushina both glared at him, saying, You awakened the Hunter Eye. Do you have any idea how dangerous it is? Kushina asked icily, What are you talking about, Kakashi? It didn't even make Kakashi cringe, as he usually does. The Hunter Eye was once one of the most feared doujutsu. It was said to have been lost after the Sage of the Six Paths had died. It was even more dangerous than what was once known as the Rinnegan, which died with that same sage. Information on it is highly classified, but if the Hokage knew you had it, that would mean a lot of things are not going to be good in your case. It was last seen ages ago, and no one has encountered it since. Kakashi continued in an icy voice. Naruto just gaped and stared at him. Akane, do you understand? Yes, I am. I guess I can't say I'm surprised at that, but it is a little unexpected. Naruto was able to keep his mouth shut. Kakashi. Sensei, is it possible for you to figure out the mechanics behind it? Maybe with your Sharingan? Kakashi raised his eyebrows. As Kakashi stated, from what I know, it is immune to the Sharingan on all levels, and may even make the Byakugan useless as well. Naruto nodded in agreement. Akane did say that it would make them both useless, but I guess I just wanted confirmation on that. Naruto replied. Kakashi continued to glare at Naruto. The only one who has access to the kind of knowledge you'll need for that is the Hokage. Not even I can get that knowledge, and I'm not sure that you can, even if you show him. Besides, your DNA would have changed, making any blood seals you've made to date useless. Naruto grinned. My DNA didn't change the entire time. Akane kept a close eye on it, and made sure of it. It's still the same as before. She did say that her father would know more about it, since he has come into contact with it, but I can't meet him for a few more years. No one outside this room can know I have it, though. His grin disappeared as he continued. Kakashi gave that a nod. The only other one who can even possibly know about it is the Hokage. Other than that, no one is to speak a word of it. At that, everyone nodded. In any case, I'll have to practice using it, and figuring out everything on my own in my mindscape while I'm there. It's a lot safer to do so there than out here, where people can notice, and I can even repair it instantly. So that's what I'll be doing from now on in the mindscape, aside from meditation. There are more nods. So I guess I'll start making a few seals. We could use a few more exploding tags. At the rate I can make them and the quality, they'd get us a fair amount of income. After all, I have been doing that since I got it down, and selling them every now and then, while keeping a few of them sealed up. This is how I've made quite that large sum right now. We could show them to some of the seal masters in the village, if there are any, when we get back. Kushina gazed at him admiringly. How much have you been able to get for each one? Naruto gazed thoughtfully. Considering the fact I've been selling them in batches of 300, I've been getting about 10,000 ryu each time. You can make a lot off of seal making. Although, I got that much from Sanagakure, I didn't get anywhere near as much in a normal village, or town. More like 5,000 ryu there. I guess it depends on where you're at, and who you're trying to sell them to. Although, on average, I'd say I made about 6,800 ryu each time. Kushina gave a nod. That would be about right. However, that's because it's the Uzumaki exploding tags, not the regular ones. The ninja villages know of it, and only an Uzumaki has been able to make them with relative ease. Now that there are few Uzumakis left, namely you and me, those kinds of tags will be hard, if not impossible, to come by. You understand what I'm saying there? Everybody gave a nod. Well, I'll get to making them. Also, I'm currently trying to figure out a way to modify the Hiraishin so I can use it without seals. It's a tough task, but I think I can do it. Only one way to find out. Don't worry, I've made the Hiraishin off limits for myself, unless it is absolutely necessary, or I am made Junin. However, if Madara shows up before that, that's when I'll unveil it. I'm gonna need everything I've got against him, Naruto stated to them. Each of them gave a nod. They were all aware of the circumstances. Naruto pursued Madara for a number of reasons, including 3 people. They were aware that he was essentially immortal and bad news. Skip time to the gate. 5 individuals were approaching Konohagakure's north gate. 2 Chunin were sitting at the gate, completely bored. Hey, Kote. You got anything else to think about? Azumo responded. Katetsu answered, no, I'm all out of ideas. That's a first for me. The 5-person group was directly in front of the check.in desk. Kushina said, hello again, Azumo. Katetsu. Catching them off guard. Kushina. Azumo uttered, clearly frightened. Naruto assured them, calm down, folks. She won't harm you, although, I think Tsunade might. Both of them glanced at the group's blonde. Lady Tsunade! Exclaimed Katetsu. The woman grinned. Live and in the flesh. Now, what has been going on in this village? Well, nothing big has happened, aside from that Mei coming through here a few months back. I heard she was made Mizukage, Azumo replied. Kakashi pointed them out by saying, we know that. We were there when it happened. They went up the wall because of that. Naruto attracted their interest. As much as we'd love to stay and chat, I have a feeling we have to head to the Hokage for a report of some kind, right? Kakashi gave him a nod. As he dashed in the direction of the Hokage's tower, Naruto exclaimed, then why are we waiting here? Let's go. Kakashi and Kushina both sighed. Let's go, Kakashi. We can't have a 5-year-old beat us there, can we? Kakashi retorted, even when he's not using his full speed. Kushina said, touché. Everyone shunned out. They all arrived at the office of the Hokage. The others entered through the window, but Naruto entered through the door. Sarutobi examined each of them. Ah, you're back. I take it you learned a lot? More than a lot. However, most of what I learned I won't be using until certain points in my ninja career, unless certain situations arise that force me to, replied Naruto. Sarutobi caught Kushina's glare, which essentially said, I have some extremely private news. He discovered that a significant event had occurred. Kushina nodded. I take it something big happened? How big? Or do I even want to know? Bigger than the Uchiha clans, and Hyuga clan's egos combined. Kushina replied. It goes without saying that he lost his pipe. A privacy seal beneath his desk was activated. Sarutobi stated gravely, whatever is said, shall remain in this room, until further notice. I just made sure of that. Kakashi took a step forward. Naruto has awakened an old bloodline, that no one has seen since before the Sage of the 6 Paths. The hunter eye is in both of his eyes. Not even Akane has all the information on it. However, I do know that only the Hokage has any idea on it. It would be like comparing a lightning bolt to a battery to say that Sarutobi was shocked. It would be a huge understatement. If this is some kind of joke, it's not funny, Kakashi. According to Naruto, it's not. I only know what it is from Akane, who's only heard about it from her father. She doesn't even know much about it, much less how I have it. Naruto sighed. They turned deep violet when he opened them, with 3 red, black, and white slits intersecting in the center. This is what it looks like. If you know anything about it, such as how it looks, this should be enough proof. Sarutobi paled as he gazed at them. It can't be. He really does, Kakashi. I don't know how he got it, sir. As far as any of us know, Akane is trying to figure that out. Naruto gave a nod. I haven't heard from her since then, either. She's even been ignoring me from that point. She's dead set on finding out just how I managed to activate it, and that's all I can really say. Naruto, get in here. We have things to discuss. Naruto pondered and said, I stand corrected. Is that the reason you haven't responded to me since I turned it on? Yes, and I'll explain it when you get here. All right, hold on. Naruto sat down in the corner and began to meditate, saying, sorry, but I have to go in there and talk to her. I think I'll figure out a few things. The mindscape of Naruto. According to Naruto, alright Akane, what did you find out? Akane led him into the cottage and said, come with me. I'll show you the results. I've been working on every possibility I can think of, and finally I found one that actually got me the answer. They came to a halt at a table, and Naruto asked, what do you mean? With a nod, you see this? This is your DNA. The DNA of your father's blood is this one right here. Note how it's a little different. This one over here is your mother's blood DNA. As you can see, it's different from that one as well. I did a little experiment with the two and found something I see as interesting. Another word for what I found. Jackpot. Naruto gave her a look. Okay, how did you figure it out? The DNA of the last one to ever have the hunter eye is this one. When you combine the right DNA pieces in order, you get the same thing. When you put yours right next to his, you have an almost exact match, off on one piece, but it's close enough to merit you to be able to use it. Combining your parents' blood into you allowed you to use it. I didn't think it was possible, but your parents' blood combined made this possible, and now it's a bloodline. Your bloodline. Naruto remained motionless. You mean? Yes, your own DNA combining your mother's and father's allowed you to awaken an age-old legend. The hunter eye returns with you, and any children you have. I also did a little more research into it, and tried adding the Sharingan and Byakugan into the mix. Sharingan was eliminated and the hunter eye remained. Byakugan was also eliminated while the hunter eye remained. I'm surprised to say this, but your hunter eye will get rid of any other ocular bloodline that comes into contact with it and remain active itself. Naruto gave Akane a startled look. What else did you find out? Not much else, but yours doesn't seem complete for some reason. As to what it's missing, not even I know. It's like you're still developing it. You see where I'm going with this? Naruto gave a nod. So, if I have kids with someone from the Uchiha or the Hyuga clans, their usual Dujutsu will be eliminated and replaced with the hunter eye, thus making it a dominant trait for any of my children. Naruto discovered that someone else had entered his mindscape. Wait, were you trying to block everyone else out? Akane gave a headshake. Okay, well that settles things. Someone just came in. From outside came a female voice that sounded familiar. Anko. Nay. Chan, I'm inside. Anko entered the space. I heard about you talking to Akane about something important. Mind telling me what? What is that? DNA. More specifically, his parents, his, and that of someone else who seems to match Naruto's almost perfectly. Akane stated to her. Anko looked at them. Anko pointed to the right two and asked, so, those two are his parents? Correct? Akane nodded and said, that one is Naruto's. So that one has something to do with why he didn't hear anything from you the past few weeks. Once again, correct. I finally figured out why his eyes have awakened one of the most dangerous bloodlines ever. However, this one had stopped maybe 500 years ago. I'm not even that old. The Sage of the Six Paths came after their extermination. Naruto is the first to awaken it since then. After examining it, Anko discovered that there was just one piece that was different from the other. Akane nodded and asked, so, this is how he managed to get this Dujutsu. What's it called? Naruto raised an eyebrow and asked, they didn't tell you? Anko gave a headshake. Then I guess I will. It's called the Hunter Eye. I figured out a few things about it already, but Akane has found out more than I did. Anko gave a nod. Alright, what did you find out? A few abilities it gives me. When active I can zoom in and out on a straight path, up to a point of 15 miles. At the same time, I can use a close-range jutsu while doing so, but it will be weakened. It also allows me to see chakra, in its elements. It speeds up my vision and apparently gets rid of tunnel vision. Thanks to that, and a little test I went through, I can use the Hiraishin multiple times while tossing the seals out in 4 different directions, without any of them stopping. It's almost like it slows down time. Anko gave a nod. Anything else? Well, I did figure out that when I use a shadow clone, we both see with the same mind. It's as if I can have one shadow clone have it active watching, while I myself am surrounded by 10 people, and can see an attack from a normal blind spot when I can't sense it coming. It's like a combination Rinnegan, Sharingan, and Byakugan. That's mostly true. It doesn't have the near 360 sight that the Byakugan has. It did, however, triple the size of your own chakra reserves when it activated. Your chakra, without adding in Mayuki, is just shy of cage level now. And with your control still being only slightly affected, you can still go through the same exercises Anko told you about back in the Forest of Death, before we even left. Naruto grinned as Anko remarked, speaking of which, I'm now a special Junin. I am basically the protector of the Forest of Death now. That's good. Now if Akane can continue. Thank you. As I was saying, the Hunter Eye will become a dominant Dujutsu, meaning that if another Dujutsu comes into contact with it on the cellular level, the Hunter Eye will remain after eliminating the other Dujutsu. I have tried it with the Rinnegan, another legendary eye, the Sharingan, and the Byakugan. All of them were eliminated and the Hunter Eye remained. Anko's pupils widened. It is already powerful as it is. However, right now, it's incomplete, as far as I can tell. My guess is, it will gain more powerful pieces as it goes along. I am surprised that it even appeared after this long. However, the fact it was made naturally, I can honestly say, it shouldn't do anything that different, and is a lot less dangerous to the user than before. Naruto's gaze expanded. What was the risk beforehand? Possible blindness, bloody eyes, and above all else, death. All 3 of those were eliminated as far as I can tell. However, in case something happens, I'll be keeping a watch on everything. Even though your body seems to accept the Dujutsu, we can't be positive that something like this doesn't have a downside somewhere. Using it here to practice with it eliminates any possible risk, but that same risk could make itself known out there. Remember that. Anko and Naruto both nodded. Well, get going, and let them know what I found out, and what I plan to do. After nodding, Naruto and Anko departed from the mindscape. Outside, Sarutobi, Shizune, Tsunade, Kakashi, and Kushina were awaiting the decision. Sarutobi spoke as soon as they opened their eyes. Alright, Naruto, what did she find out? Naruto continued by outlining everything that had happened thus far and the options she had considered. How she managed to come by some of that stuff, I don't know, but it does make sense to me. It was created naturally, so it's a lot less dangerous than it was beforehand. That one piece that was off from the original may be the cause of that. Sarutobi gave him a nod. You've got most of the recorded abilities figured out already. There are only a few more that you would need to be aware of. However, since I am not allowed to speak of them, I will give you the one piece of recorded evidence it ever existed. Only I know where it is, and only a Hokage can access it. You will have to come with me, and only you. That kind of information can't be said to anyone, and the security system for it is far beyond anything else the elemental countries have ever come up with. Naruto gave him a nod. I doubt my family can come along to see it, and I won't be able to tell them anything that I see or read there. Am I right on that? Actually, you'll be taking it with you in a seal. You won't be reading it in there, and nothing else can come out of that area. Are we clear? Naruto gave a wink. Do you accept these terms? Naruto gave him a questioning glance. What do you mean? Just because one is clear on something, doesn't mean they agree, or accept it, Sarutobi stated. Naruto gave a nod. Yes, I do agree. I swear on the Uzumaki and Namikaze clan's honor and prestige that I will not reveal anything I see there, nor will I take any notes. I will have to make sure Akane agrees as well, first, before I go. Don't worry about it. Nothing we find will come out of my lips. I swear on my tails, which provide my strength, that I won't tell a soul. How does that bind? Because when we lose a tail, we lose the power it brings, and it never comes back. I would cut off all of my tails before I say anything like that. That's odd. I'll tell them, though, because it's the same thing as mine. She is binding herself on her tails. I think she also told me how to kill off a Biju, as well, said Naruto. I did. And now you know that I'm serious. Okay. That was a weird concept. Anyway, we both have a binding agreement that nothing we see will be seen or spoken of elsewhere. Also, once we are done with everything, I will be wiping our memories of the place to ensure its safety. Yours and mine. That way we don't even know where it came from, or any secrets regarding that location. A few heads turned when Naruto said out loud, "Memory wipe of the place." That would work. Sarutobi gave him a look. Naruto turned to him and nodded, saying, "You do realize I just heard that, right? Well then, only you and me can go there, and we shall only head there under a genjutsu hiding our presence." Naruto took out a shuriken and gave it to Anko, saying, "That's taken care of. But first, a safer way to get out. Take this back to the Namikaze mansion, make sure it's there within 10 minutes, and put it on a roof. That will be the exit point for me. Before I even think of leaving, the old man will get to search me for anything that isn't supposed to get out with me. I'm only adding that as a safety precaution. I know full well how bad this can get if he needs me to know the difference between getting the concept and actually agreeing with it." Sarutobi gave him a startled look. "Alright then, let's go. Although, I don't see what that shuriken will do for an exit." Naruto remarked, "You'll see when I leave, after 15 minutes. The Hokage had given his approval for Naruto to be searched. Still wearing his boxers, Naruto nodded and began to glow. "Get going." Hirai-shin. He vanished as an orange light surrounded him. In his place was a note. "Elderly man, as a small token of appreciation for the Hunter Eye information, I left this note. I would have gone for a few items if I could have taken anything else with that agreement, but I didn't. Furthermore, Akane erased our memories of the Hirai-shin's location, contents, entrance, and other details as soon as it was used. I won't even be aware that the location even existed in the first place, so the secret is safe. I might experience some deja vu if I happen to come close to it by accident, but that's about it. Thank you once more. Uzumaki Naruto PS. After you have finished reading this, burn it. Your best chance of keeping it a secret would be that." Sarutobi burned the note and departed with the same genjutsu he had used earlier, saying, "That kid is full of surprises." Namikaze Estate. Through a flash of orange light, Naruto entered. Wondering what had happened, he glanced around. Before he understood what that statement meant, Naruto asked himself, "Why am I outside in my boxers?" He immediately covered himself while surveying his surroundings. The estate of Namikaze. "I'm up on the roof, phew. Well, at least I saw something interesting. By the way, what's in the scroll?" "What scroll?" Then Naruto saw that he was holding a scroll. Where did this originate? Hold on, Hunter Eye. Is this where the information about it is? That's what it looks like, Naruto. There's also a Hirai-shin seal on the shuriken underneath you. I'm guessing that whatever happened, we wiped our memory of it, to keep it a secret. It would be a good idea not to go searching for it, though. If we had to wipe our memory, it must have been for a good reason. I understand. Don't look for it. Good, now put your clothes back on before someone sees you. Naruto hastily put on his clothes and concealed the scroll in his jumpsuit, saying, "You don't have to tell me twice." He picked up the shuriken he found there, went inside, and then leapt off the roof. A year later, Naruto's situation had significantly improved. He had learned as much as he could about the original Hunter Eye and had mastered the majority of it in his mindscape. He continued to practice with kunai, senbon, and shuriken while creating explosive tags. He kept a different pair of gloves sealed in case he needed them for the Hirai-shin. He had encountered some individuals, primarily the heiresses and clan heirs. He thought Hinata was a little creepy, but he soon realized how much she liked him. She blushed occasionally even after he was able to stop her stuttering. When he encountered Sakura and Ino, they were nearly enamored with him. Sakura, however, was more attracted to Sasuke than to him. Naruto had to strike Sasuke several times due to his slight conceit. He was able to get him out of it after some time. Additionally, he met Itachi and thought he was much less conceited than Sasuke. Additionally, he met Choji and Shikamaru, who became practically inseparable. Shikamaru gave the impression of being a slothful, cowardly, and addicted cloud watcher. But Naruto saw right through it. He observed that Shikamaru was very skilled at strategy games and always found him challenging in Go and Shogi. Choji ate in large quantities. He was an Akamichi, Nuff said. Kiba was impulsive, talkative, and generally agitated. He had some issues with that, and Naruto taught him to remain composed despite the overwhelming odds. Shadow clones did that, and before he received the message, he was almost beaten to death multiple times. Despite meeting Shino, he was unable to pinpoint his location. He didn't share much about himself and mostly kept to himself. Before he began to open up, it took him nearly 4 months. He didn't really care about onlookers. He just thought it was cool to hang out with him. Basically, Naruto got along well with every clan. He didn't really care, except for most of the Hyuga clan. He expressed his opinion that his entire approach to how they handled things was incorrect, which made Hinata happy and made the majority of the clan despise him. In fact, he was liked by the branch members because they liked his way of thinking. Naruto and Ino, as well as Hinata and Naruto, had become close friends. Since they were all in the same age range, it didn't take long for some to realize that most of it was pre-arranged that way. Through him, Ino and Hinata became friends. After making a few friends, Naruto discovered that they were all interested in enrolling in the Ninja Academy. He was aware that his first shot would turn him into a ninja. He planned to assist some of them with the real ideas. He didn't divulge any of his own skills or knowledge of ninjutsu, genjutsu, or the fundamentals of taijutsu. Other than simple storage seals, he did not grant them any sealing jutsu. However, he did teach them the real meaning of being a ninja, and he believed that only those who could handle it and comprehend it would continue after the academy. He was prepared for some dull classes, and the first day of the academy was drawing near. His eyes are open, but he would spend the majority of the day in meditation. In light of what he had experienced in class that day, he took the time to go over all he had learned. He was being cautious not to display too much and to only use jutsu when absolutely necessary. He could not use his dojutsu unless he was in his mindscape. Naruto met up with his friends and went through his first day. They were referring to themselves as the Rookie 9, even though they all knew Naruto was anything but a rookie. They were unaware of his actual level of experience, but they never inquired. Naruto had already attended and comprehended the mechanics of the lectures that took up the first few days. He paid strange attention to the lecture on the birth of the Shinobi nations. It was one of the few things he was really interested in. Since none of the 7 points he found incorrect in that lecture could be verified, he remained silent until the end of the class, when he was able to catch up with his friends. We go on from here. You guys remember the whole situation between the Shoden Hokage and Madara Uchiha? Naruto responded. Sasuke, who was there, arched an eyebrow at this. If you're going to diss the Uchiha clan because of one person that's dead, I'm leaving. I'm not dissing anyone that's dead. I just found a few things that was wrong, in truth. All of which I can only prove by showing you something that would normally be against the law. There is one thing you should know about regarding Madara. First off, he's alive. Some people gasped at that. Before you say it's impossible, I have a few questions for Sasuke. Sasuke nodded despite giving him a crazy look. What do you know about the Sharingan? Well, I do know it's the Kekkei Genkai of the Uchiha clan, and of the most powerful Dojutsu. I haven't unlocked mine yet, though. Do you know of the upgrades it has? Inquired Naruto. Sasuke raised an eyebrow and said, I don't know much about them, but what would you know? Naruto let out a sigh. The Sharingan is powerful, sure. However, there are 2 more powerful versions. One is the Mangekyo Sharingan. That Sharingan, though more powerful, has a massive drawback. Sasuke's gaze widened. What do you mean? Naruto's dead serious expression met his eyes. If one uses the Mangekyo Sharingan-based jutsu too many times, they'll eventually go blind. That's where the second upgrade comes in. Everyone was paying close attention. The next form is called the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. You see, it's called Eternal for a reason, and only one Uchiha has ever gotten that far. That one is Madara Uchiha. No one knows exactly how it works, aside from those that have encountered it. All I know on that, is that once achieved, you will regain your sight, and be able to use the Mangekyo Jutsu without risk of blindness. However, the path to the Eternal Mangekyo is a treacherous one, filled with darkness. Naruto continued. He was being glared at by Sasuke. How do you know any of this? Not even the Uchiha clan knows that much about it. There's more that I know. While I was out of the village for a year, I learned a lot more about the world, and also that Madara Uchiha is still alive. Right now, there are 3 people that I have sworn to truly kill him, where the Shoden failed. All 3 of them know who he is, and were being controlled by him at least once in their lives. Only one of them is dead, and that's because he told me to end his life. That was the death of the Yondaime Mizukage. That was also the day that Meiterumi was named Mizukage. Naruto explained to them. Sasuke scowled at him, but a question began to emerge. How do you unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan? Well, first off, you have to have a fully developed Sharingan. After that, from what I've been told, you'd have to kill someone you care for more than yourself. When you die, come back to life, and then die again for. To go for the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, you have to take your siblings' Mangekyo Sharingan, thus killing them. Sasuke gave him a startled look. Even his father was unaware of that. How do you? Naruto sent them up the wall with the words, the same reason that I know full well Madara is alive. He was 7 years ago, and this I know for a fact. Ino inquired, what do you mean? I already know of the events the day the Kyuubi no Kitsune attacked the village. I know to a better extent than most. The reason for that? I can't say up front. I hate the laws, but I have to follow them. However, I did teach most of you meditation. There is a reason for that, however, I won't really say the reason right now. Naruto replied. Kid, you really want them to meet me? Maybe one day. Right now, Sasuke and Hinata, for sure. Are you sure? Totally. Sasuke, Hinata, the two of you should come by the academy training field tomorrow. There are a few things you'll need to know regarding my sources on this. The two of you are especially important to this fact, and the rest aren't really affected by it just yet. That's basically why it's just you two for now. Sasuke cracked a grin. Hinata reddened. There is only one thing you need to know before that happens. They both gave him a startled look. Naruto was wearing his mother's trademark death glare. What you hear or see there cannot be spoken of. It doesn't matter if your life is in danger. You'd be killed if you said anything on those topics in the first place. That specific glare made them both extremely afraid. It indicated that he is serious. Not wanting to rely on their mouths, they both nodded. He was dead serious, and everyone in the room knew it. Deadly is emphasized. The following day, one more dull lesson. Upon arriving at the academy training field, the three of them took a seat and began to meditate. The mindscape of Naruto, Sasuke, and Hinata had shown up in a field. In the meadow, a redhead was having fun. She approached the three of them after noticing their presence. Ah, so you were serious yesterday. Would I have said that if I wasn't? You already know who they are. Naruto replied. Sasuke, Hinata, this is Akane Kitsune. Sasuke sensed an odd force coming from her. When Hinata chose to activate her Byakugan, she discovered that it had been deactivated right away. Sorry, I forgot to mention that the Byakugan and Sharingan won't work here. I noticed. Anyway, as he said, my name is Akane. What you don't realize is what you may know me as, replied Akane. So this is your source of information on the Sharingan? Sasuke replied. And what do you mean what we may know you as? Naruto grinned. You want to tell them or should I? Let's go into where we are first. Then we'll tell them that. This is Naruto's mindscape. In short, his own world inside his mind. Are you with me so far? Both of them nodded. As for who you might know me as, I am the Kyuubi no Kitsune, and one of the ones that Madara has put under his control. However, there is a problem with that bastard. The eyes of Sasuke and Hinata grew wide. He has the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, for one. Another problem I've had with that bastard is he has done this not once, but twice. Naruto shouted, Akane, calm the fuck down, sorry, but you know how I get when that bastard is brought up. Naruto gave a nod. Yeah, I know. We're going to tell you of the day that Akane here had attacked the village 7 years ago. As I said, this information is not to get out, otherwise, you're as good as dead. Despite Hinata's slight fear, Sasuke and she both nodded. Akane continued by detailing the events of that day. She was a little irritated, but Naruto's creation of a black orb in his hand significantly eased her tension. Akane punched the ground, creating a hole the size of her fist. And that's what truly happened. I was only pissed off that day because I couldn't do a damn thing about that stupid genjutsu, she said. Naruto turned to face the pair he had brought in. Now do you see why I'm after Madara? If not, he's something else I bet you didn't know. I told you about Yagura, and how he had me end his life. What no one but my mother, Kakashi Hatake, myself, a man named Ao, and Mei Terumi, the current Mizukage, knows is that Yagura was under the influence of the same genjutsu as Akane was. As was the Sanbi no Genbu. The three of them are just three of the reasons that I'm after him. Another reason is because he has lived longer than nature intended. Death can't touch him. Literally. Sasuke gave him a look. Literally? I asked the Lord of Fiends Gonta about it. The Shinigami can't even touch him. He is that good at this point. Nothing can be done about it, but it is for these reasons I am after him. He needs to be brought to justice, and I know he will be after Akane once more. Meaning he'll come after me, Naruto said, clearly furious. Hinata became aware of his emotions. I know you're upset at him, but there isn't much anyone can do about it. Do you even know why he wanted to join the ninja force in the first place? Akane inquired. Hinata gave a nod. At least I do now. It was to help you take out someone that has gone beyond life and death. Naruto gave a nod. She caught that quicker than I expected. Naruto nodded and said, "No kidding." He saw that Sasuke was standing there terrified of the blonde maelstrom. "I'm not after the Uchiha clan in general, Sasuke. Only Madara. However, this information cannot, and will not be brought up, until the law stating the events of October 10th are not allowed to be talked about is lifted. There is one more thing you should know about, but that's only after we graduate. There is a third Dujutsu in the village and active. I have it, as well. I will not go into detail about it unless you are on my team after graduation." Both Hinata and Sasuke nodded. Then Hinata said something. "I have a question for Akane." Akane asked in a calm, slightly sweet voice, "What is it?" With a flush, Hinata said, "Well, if Naruto and I get paired up with the teams, you wouldn't mind us, dating?" Akane just chuckled at that. "I wouldn't mind if you kissed him right here and now. However, you'd have to ask him about that." Naruto was now flushed. "Hey, Akane. You know she likes you. That's why you helped her these past few months. You can't deny it, because I know for a fact you did." Akane was chuckling. Sasuke was amused, and Hinata was flushed. In contrast, Naruto was becoming irritated. "Oh Akane," he said in a slightly sultry but unidentified emotion-filled voice. His eyes changed as she looked at him. "Wait. What are doing? You're not supposed to." When Naruto screamed, "Gravity cannon!" Akane was propelled into the air and trapped in a gravity field. His arms remained motionless. He hurled several shuriken in Akane's direction, tearing her clothing to pieces as he skimmed it. In his hand, a sword materialized. Hiraishin. Orange light surrounded Naruto, and Akane was being sliced in all directions, with blood splattering everywhere but never touching the ground. After landing, Naruto threw another shuriken. Naruto gestured with his hand just before it reached Akane. Katsu. It blew up. Gravity cannon. Akane was then rocketed backwards for a few miles. Naruto's eyes returned to their usual state. Sasuke and Hinata were taken aback by his recent actions. He approached them once more. "She knows better than to tease me like that when I'm in here with guests. Hopefully, she remembers why this is my mindscape." Akane returned to him, dressed. "Did you really have to do all of that?" "Yes, I did. You know you're not supposed to go off like that when there are others in here." Naruto screamed at her. "I'm sorry, Akane. Since she is a good girl, she will have a time out in the forest." Akane fled into the forest. I apologize for bringing up Tobi, but I couldn't help myself." Naruto sighed and remarked, "I swear. Sometimes she's just like a fangirl. Never a good thing. Anyway, now you know why I'm after Madara. What do you plan on doing with that knowledge?" Sasuke gave him a look. "I'm not saying anything on that subject. I do have one question. The information on the Sharingan. Am I able to talk about that to my clan?" Naruto gave a nod. "As long as Madara is not mentioned, there is no problems with that. If anyone asks how you came by that information, you are not to reveal anything else on that subject. Just say it is an S-class secret. That will get you killed if you reveal where you got it from. If I don't, Akane or the Anbu will." "Indeed." Hinata held up her hand. "What do you have to say?" "I know that we can't say anything on this, but Akane mentioned something about your eyes. What exactly was she talking about?" "It's the third Dujutsu in the village. As I said before, I'm not allowed to speak of it. I'm not even supposed to use it until I graduate from the academy. Then again, while I'm here you can't really say anyone will notice that I'm using it, unless they, themselves are in here. If Akane didn't tease me earlier, she could have explained it to you, because, unlike me, she is unaffected by that particular law. In fact, that's the only reason she said anything about the day she was forced to attack the village. I'm not even allowed to say that. And that means the two of you can't, either." Naruto replied. He caught Sasuke's attention. "One more thing. If you call bullshit on something that's said in class, it's because you found out otherwise from Akane?" Naruto gave a nod. "That would be right. However, you'd be better off going with the class lectures than true history from one who's been there. At least until we graduate. That is when true history comes in handy." Both Hinata and Sasuke nodded. "So, going by the teacher's lectures will help us in the academy, but not afterwards." Grinning, Naruto said, "Bingo." Once more, they both nodded. "Well, that's everything I've got." Sasuke remarked, "Same here." "Ditto," said Hinata. They all nodded when I said, "Then let's get going. Remember the rules I laid out yesterday." They left after glowing. When Akane realized they were gone, she left the forest. "Now I can chase the butterfly again." Why don't I find this surprising? 2 weeks later. Since it was a Friday, taijutsu training had just begun. Naruto's class was on a training field with Iruka Amino and Mizuki. Alright class, we're starting on taijutsu today. You all have gone over the information on the academy style, so you know how to get in the stance. Now I will call out 2 names at a time, and those 2 will start by coming into the circle. Until one pair in particular emerged, he called off names. Naruto Uzumaki versus Sasuke Uchiha. Without being instructed, they both entered the circle and exchanged greetings. They did it even though they both already knew what it was. We are both familiar with what is to be done for a spar. Sasuke and Naruto assumed separate positions. While Naruto had a stance that no one recognized except Hinata, Sasuke had the standard Uchiha taijutsu stance. He was positioned in the kitsune style of taijutsu. Naruto never took his eyes off Sasuke's. Iruka, sensei, it would be a good idea for you to give us a time limit. As for you, Sasuke, this is only a spar, so don't take a loss or a win to heart. Sasuke grinned while maintaining eye contact with Naruto. I know, may we fight with honor. Naruto went on, for our clans and families, to the surprise of Iruka and Mizuki, they both finished at the same time, saying, and the sake of our village. Iruka said, Hajime, and a 5-minute clock began to run. Sasuke and Naruto stood there staring at one another. Sasuke charged Naruto after 3 seconds. Instead of striking when he had the chance, Naruto ducked the first blow and walked around Sasuke. After turning around, Sasuke executed a roundhouse right. Naruto grabbed the leg as he flipped it over. Sasuke flew after he flipped him over. Sasuke leapt off after striking a tree with his feet. Without glancing at him, Naruto sidestepped his blow and struck him in the stomach, causing him to cough up phlegm. Heaving, Sasuke lay on the ground. Sasuke nodded and said, looks like I win. You mind if I help out? Sasuke gave a nod. Naruto's hand touched his stomach and glowed green. Sasuke's breathing had returned to normal and he was no longer heaving, thanks. They both performed the shinobi handshake that is typically taught at the academy, and they said, no sweat. Crossing the middle and pointer fingers. Since he lost, Sasuke had his on top. They exchanged smiles and nods. The remainder of the day passed rather quickly and was a little dull. His only areas of interest were taijutsu, which he had already mastered, ninjutsu, which he already knew how to do, and target practice, which he mastered with ease. He consistently received perfect scores on tests, but he never went above and beyond what was required of him. He occasionally did less and discovered a number of issues with the instruction. He was among the best, so he didn't complain. When he could, he assisted a few of his friends. Sakura's stamina and physical prowess. With her shyness, Hinata. Sasuke, with his sense of superiority and haughtiness. Shikamaru was unable to do much due to his lack of drive. Choji was an issue. A major issue. He was at a loss there because Naruto had a lot of trouble training him. No, I'm not calling him fat. Akane had some ideas, so he decided to try them out even though Shino couldn't do much to help. Surprisingly, they were quite helpful to him. But nothing could have prepared them for what lay ahead. Naruto was meditating as usual. In the Uchiha compound, he sensed a commotion. While Itachi was in pain, people around him were dying. No, he couldn't be. I wouldn't put it past those elders to get rid of a threat. Remember, the Uchiha clan was planning a coup d'etat. Itachi was probably sent to stop them before they can. You should save Mikoto, if only for your mother. I wholeheartedly concur. It's time for the next appearance of the Kitsune warrior. With his mask on, Naruto applied a true transformation jutsu to make himself appear older. Wearing a Kitsune mask, he appeared to be around 20 years old. Alright. Let's get her out of there. Uchiha compound Kitsune was making his way directly to Mikoto while concealing his identity. Before Itachi could reach Mikoto, he located her. Mikoto Uchiha. Your life is in danger here, come with me. Mikoto gave him a look. Just who are you? He responded, the Kitsune warrior. Mikoto's eyes widened in surprise. Alright. How are we getting out of here? He took hold of her wrist. Like this. They vanished in an orange flash, and in their place was a bleeding fake body. In the southern woods, Kitsune and Mikoto were standing beside a shack. You should be safe here. I'll get Sasuke. Mikoto said, what's going on, Kitsune? As he vanished in an orange flash, Kitsune remarked, Itachi is stopping the coup d'etat by eliminating the Uchiha clan. Stay here. It wouldn't do for you to die just yet. He was replaced by a note. Mikoto remained at this shack. As long as you stay in the clearing, you will be safe. I put it up in case anyone, mostly myself, needs to remain hidden. A number of seals encircle the clearing itself, each of which hides the presence of anyone within. Scents on the inside are prevented from escaping by one seal. Outside the seal, another prevents chakra from being sensed. Any sounds coming from within are muffled on the outside by a third seal. A genjutsu barrier comparable to the Namikaze compound is created using a fourth seal. Anyone inside can leave, and no one without special permission can enter. But I would advise against it. You'll be safer the longer you stay here. Just as I left a note here, I left a phony body of you there. I should be shorter. Warrior Kitsune Makoto nodded while glancing up at the sky after finishing reading the note. Sasuke and Kitsune appeared in another orange flash. I've got him, Makoto. The two of you should stay here until morning. You'll be safe from the Uchiha massacre, as I believe it will be called one day. You two will survive, and Itachi will be forced to flee the village. Once he finds out he won't be able to complete his mission, he will leave, along with that other signature I found. That one. No, it can't be. It is. That's Madara, alright. I know that stench anywhere. Don't pursue him right now, though. Why not? You're not ready yet. I can't have you dying on me, and he's still beyond you. Trust me on this one. If you confront him now, you'll die. Then again, if you die, I'll die as well, so either way, someone is screwed. Therefore, I will take you with me if I die. I'll die from extreme exhaustion if I kill him, which is unlikely, right? That's right. As much as I hate it, you should let him go, and not mention his interference there. Agreed. Angrily, Sasuke asked, who are you? Kitsune looked over at him. That is of no concern right now. All you need to know is I just now saved your life, along with your mother's. You'll be better off surviving here than in the Uchiha compound. It's not much, but it's better than nothing. Makoto said, I'm not sure how to thank you. Don't. If you want to thank someone, thank Kushina and Naruto Uzumaki. They're friends of mine, and it's because of them I saved you too. Do them a favor, and stay here for the night. If not, they'll never let me leave it down. Kitsune replied. Also, Naruto did have a message should this happen. Sasuke, revenge is never a good idea to base your life off of. It only leads to pain, suffering, sorrow, and above all else, complete loneliness. Before you know it, your life is revenge. You won't be yourself, and can never go back. Do not give in to the darkness, and always look to the light. Kitsune started to leave. Oh, and where is the light, huh? He's after revenge, as well, Sasuke screamed. He is doing so, not for vengeance, but to uphold balance and peace. There is a difference there. As for the light, there is one right behind you. Another is the Namikaze compound. Consider what you have, instead of what you lost, and you will find the light from others, connecting to the one within you. Kitsune looked over at him. In every darkness, there's light. For where there is one, the other exists. Find the light of hope, in the darkness of despair, and embrace the light. Only then will you realize how to truly live. Sasuke looked at him with amazement. How do I find it? That is not for me to answer. With everyone, that light is within. However, to find it, you must search for it yourself. As long as you have hope, you can find the light. Kitsune walked away. For without it, the light of hope will fade. He walked away into the darkness. With Sasuke looking at her, Makoto remarked, find the light of hope in the darkness of despair? That's a new one. Do you know what he means by that? Makoto gave a headshake. If this note is anything to go by, I think it's a good idea to stay here for the night, as he asked. Makoto gave him the note, which he read. Sasuke remarked, he is good. I should get him to train me. I doubt he would. However, I think when he said there was one behind you, he was talking about me. So, if I had to guess, he means living family and friends are a good source of light. They give you the strength to go on, when you can't do any more. That's the way friends work. You don't need to worry about having many friends, though. In front of them was a note. Grabbing it, Sasuke asked, what's this? Hey Sasuke, I should also add, watch out for fangirls. They are bad and have a tendency to fuss over trivial matters. They will harass you after this minor incident. Discuss with Naruto how annoying they can be and how to stay away from them. He has a few already. You will only be drawn closer to darkness if you allow others to stroke your ego. One way to prevent developing a large ego is to ignore praise. Ignoring the feedback period, however, prevents one from ever getting better. There is always room for improvement. Naruto can also be questioned about that. Warrior Kitsune. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. He's good, Sasuke replied. The following day Sasuke approached Naruto prior to class. Although Naruto was aware of the truth, he had already heard the rumors. "Hey Sasuke, I'm sorry about what happened." "Don't be. I was helped out by some guy calling himself the Kitsune Warrior. My mother and I are alive thanks to him. Itachi will have to pay, one day. When that day comes, I want to be there," Sasuke replied. Naruto gave him a look. Sasuke nodded and raised an eyebrow, saying, "I take it, Kitsune gave you a few tips on revenge, as well? I see. Take them to heart, as they will keep you together, and stop you from going insane." "Sure as hell know it could happen." Naruto laughed and said, "He did say to ask you about fangirls, and how to avoid them." "What?" "Nothing. It's just the way it was worded. Anyway, one thing you'll need to know for sure is the look in their eyes. When they look like they're hungry for something, or feeling lust, avoid them. If you see sympathy in them, keep an eye on them. If you see nothing in their eyes, they don't care and are safe. I had to figure this out the hard way." Sasuke sat beside him and said, "Why just keep an eye on the sympathetic ones?" "Because they could turn into a fangirl or a fanboy. On the other hand, they could turn out to be a good friend. Keep them at arm's length, and if they blow up in your face after a while, they'll calm down sooner or later. If they come back to apologize after that, and I'm not saying they will, that's a good friend to have." Naruto let out a sigh. A lot of people care about a name. Names aren't what make people strong or weak. It's their knowledge, and control of their skills. Strength is on an individual level. True strength cannot be simply inherited. One must train their mind and body, and keep them balanced. That is what I do, and you've seen some of the results. Sasuke gave a nod. "Is that everything?" "Well, in the case of avoiding fangirls that don't leave you alone, a clone with the substitution jutsu works wonders. I do it with the shadow clone all the time, and it works highly well if done in a public place." Naruto laughed. "Public humiliation?" Naruto asked, nodding in agreement. "Cruel, but effective, right?" "Exactly. It may be cruel, but they have to realize the importance of their ninja training if they are going to succeed. That means that they focus less on boys, and more on their training. If you need any help, don't hesitate to ask," Naruto said. After Sasuke gave a nod, they both faced the lecturer. However, as usual, Naruto wasn't really listening. It was time for the graduation exams, and the Rookie 9 had a lot going for them. They didn't even bat an eye at the announcement because they had been preparing for this. They actually fared far better than the majority of them. The written exam was the first part. Even though they knew that the majority of the information they received would not be useful in the field, they all received perfect scores on it. They assumed that the best student in the class would be among them when it happened later. Target practice was the second section. "Alright, everyone. You have the choice of kunai, shuriken, and senbon. You get 8 of them, or a combination of the 3. There are 8 targets out there, and you will be graded on a 10-point system," Iruka replied. Sasuke selected 4 shuriken and 4 kunai. He received 80 points, or perfect scores, on each of them. Naruto had selected 2 shuriken, 2 kunai, and 4 senbon. They were all flawless shots, too. To demonstrate his accuracy, he did toss a kunai at a senbon he had previously thrown, cutting it in half. On that, Sasuke did comment that it was overkill, but Naruto simply shrugged. For the most part, he didn't care what he could. All he knew was that there was someone better and stronger than him. It's always there. Sakura selected all kunai, missing 1 bullseye by half an inch, and received 79. When called up, Hinata selected all senbon. She received 80 points. When Ino finally made the decision to go all senbon, she received 78 points. Kiba went up and selected shuriken exclusively. He hit all of the others dead center, but missed 1. 70 points. Senbon was Shino's choice, and he missed with 1 by the same amount as Sakura, earning 79. Choji scored 73 points after selecting all kunai and hitting the majority of them dead center but missing a few of the bullseye. Shikamaru obtained 70 by selecting 4 kunai and 4 shuriken. Naruto knew it was intentional, but he missed 1. One of the others attempted to tackle Naruto, while the majority commended Sasuke and Naruto for their efforts. He smirked as soon as she grabbed him, which made Sasuke smirk as well, and he went poof. Naruto ended up on a tree branch after avoiding the fangirl tackle as usual. All Naruto ever says after the fact is, "You should know by now I don't appreciate the fangirl tackle." The taijutsu section followed. The whole team was supposed to face Mizuki. They had 5 minutes to stay up, or they had to hit him. At precisely 1 minute, the entire Rookie 9 faced him and delivered a blow. Iruka started to believe that was how they had planned it. However, Naruto had more openings than most of them when he went up. Iruka struck Mizuki at precisely 1 minute after realizing that he didn't go for the majority of them. And lastly, the jutsu part. The 3 academy jutsu was required of them. They were aware of their advantage. Naruto was ranked second to last and Ino last because they were called by last name. A.N. If you don't like it, then deal with it. I'll be doing this by character, but not necessarily in order. Sakura. The first part is transformation. The rule for this is that the one you transform into cannot be made up. Iruka responded. Sakura gestured with one hand. She saw exactly what the 4th Hokage looked like. Iruka gave a nod. Sakura sat in his seat and he stood where she had been just a moment before. Next up, substitution. You are to switch with something in this room? He asked. She had her feet on the desk. Iruka nodded. This good enough? Iruka was upside down in the chair when she switched back. Yes, I did that on purpose. Iruka straightened out. Sakura yelled, finally, clones. You must make 3 clones. 9 clones appeared. Sakura dismissed the clones and walked out of the room, saying, well done. Head back out, and back to the classroom. You passed, that's for sure. Hinata attempted a transformation, but she used Naruto's transformation jutsu instead of the standard one. She snapped, but there was no sound. It turned out to be Tsunade of Sanin. Her expression was one of annoyance. That's good. Substitution. After turning off the transformation, Hinata switched to Mizuki. She had her feet on the desk. Like Sakura, Iruka reflected. Clones. You must make 3 of them. Hinata was in the right place and quickly created 10 clones. You passed. Head back to the classroom. You'll get your headband when the announcement is made after the exams. Ino. A.N. I will go ladies first, yes. She changed into Meitarumi in order to undergo transformation. Iruka was shocked that she even recognized her appearance beneath the Mizukage robes, as it was an exact likeness. I continue to wonder how she is aware of the Mizukage's appearance beneath those robes. You have that down. Next up, substitution. Not even I do. Ino turned to face Iruka. She switched to Mizuki as she said, that's because one of the students today has seen her before she became the Mizukage and has a picture. Switch with the teachers once more. This is the last one, at least. Iruka said, clones. You must make 3. Ino just lost it and created 9 clones. Iruka said, pass. Head back to the classroom. Naruto had a wild idea for the transformation. Iruka and Mizuki shuddered as he snapped and created an exact replica of the Raikage from his trip to Kumogakure. His voice was much deeper than before, and Mizuki was terrified. What, you got a problem with this? He asked. They both gave a quick shake of their heads. It seems as though he is aware of his voice and the way he speaks. How is that even known to him? For the upcoming test, they were able to overcome their fear. He switched with Iruka, but he was nowhere to be seen. Substitution. Switch with something in this room. Damn it. Where did he go? A second after he finished, a kunai was at his neck. Iruka was perspiring and said, right here. Iruka returned to his seat as the kunai disappeared. This next part is clones. You must make 3. Question. Is it possible to do another type of clone? Replied Naruto. Iruka arched an eyebrow, temporarily losing his fear. Why do you ask? Naruto let out a sigh. The regular clone jutsu was never my forte, and no matter how hard I tried I could never get it. However, I have a few other types of clones I can make. He caught Mizuki's attention. I don't see why not. You still must make 3 clones. Naruto closed his eyes and nodded. For a few seconds, he vanished, and 15 Narutos materialized in front of them both. They both nodded in agreement. Wind clones. What do you think? You pass, with flying colors. Head back to the classroom, and you will get your headband then. Sasuke made the decision to become the Shodem Hokage. He got it exactly right. Iruka gave a nod. He switched to Iruka's position with a pen for substitution, and Iruka returned to his initial position. From outside the window, Sasuke asked, double substitution. What do you think? Rolling his eyes, Sasuke yelled, clones. You must make 3. There was no sound, but 15 clones emerged. Mizuki and Iruka both nodded. Pass. Head back to the classroom. A.N. I'm going straight to the announcements, so screw it. Classroom. Following the tests they were all seated when Iruka and Mizuki entered. Many people, including Rookie 9, passed. Iruka pause. The Rookie of the Year goes to, she said. The Rookie 9 used this as a chance to surround their heads with a sound barrier. Thanks to Naruto. Let's hear the fangirl scream. Naruto Uzumaki. Runner-up is, pauses again. Sasuke Uchiha. Shouts fangirls. At that moment, they did not lower the barrier. They were indifferent. To calm the class, Iruka had to employ his giant Oni head jutsu. They interpreted that as the end of the fangirl yelling. Thank you. Best Kunoichi of the year. Sakura Haruno. The runner-up is Hinata Hyuga. The Rookie 9 gave a nod. Ino felt a little depressed. Sakura was beside her, encouraging her. Then, saving the Rookie 9 for last, he called the other graduates. At the conclusion he stated, the last 5 were among the top ranks in the class. They were about on par with the top 4 students, which gained the Rookie of the Year, Kunoichi of the Year, and their runner-ups. Those 9 are so close, it's like they planned it. I sure as hell know that they planned the 1 o'clock on the dot for all 9 of them. Those who were mentioned grinned. Honestly, I'm surprised you did that. Anyway, those of you I called out, come up, get a headband, and be back in this classroom in 1 week for team placements. You are dismissed until then. Iruka responded. In each instance, everyone placed their headbands where they should be. At least in canon. I know I'm being lazy, but deal with it. 2 hours later. The Rookie 9 was having a good time at the Namikaze estate. All of their parents were present and enjoying themselves immensely. More than most, Kushina. Although she lived there as Naruto's sister, Enko was also present. The only people Kushina failed to hit with her pranks were Makoto, Hikari, and Naruto. The others were easily apprehended. When Sasuke was struck, Makoto laughed, and when Hinata was struck, Naruto laughed. Though it turned out to be a mistake on his part, Naruto did assist Hinata in escaping the situation his mother had placed her in. She finally cornered him after chasing him around the entire estate. That wasn't funny, you know. Naruto gave a nod. Naruto went poop, demonstrating that he was a shadow clone, saying, I know it's not. But this is. Hinata looked a little dejected and said, what a fool. He thought I was going to attack him. He doesn't seem to realize I wanted the opposite. There was a tap on her shoulder. She turned to see Naruto grinning at her and said, well, I do now. I know you like me, but the situation was just funny in my opinion. Just try to be more careful for a while. My mom is in a pranking mood, and I know to watch my step when that happens, and now you know why. Hinata merely looked at him. Humor me. His head was scratched by Naruto. When she's in a pranking mood, traps are set all over the place within seconds. She hides them better than I do, and it's only thanks to Akane that I can even find some of them before they go off. Even when I set them off, they only get a clone. She's one of the pranking queens. Akane is another, so yeah. At that, Hinata gave a nod. Hinata kissed him on the cheek and said, well, I guess it's a good thing then. By the way, which made Akane laugh. Naruto blushed and said, that's for explaining it to me. Even though his mindscape was going a little crazy, he was strangely quiet. Naruto. Akane shouted in his head, bringing the scene under control. Thank you. Akane, what the devil? You shouted into my head, but why? Because your mindscape was distorting itself. It's a form of instability. Hey, let me rest. I wasn't even prepared for Hinata to kiss my cheek. I know, but you need better control over your own mindscape at those points. Oh, please stop talking. Or WH. Naruto interrupted the conversation by cutting the link. He glanced at Hinata, who was staring at him, and said, or that. Akane. Akane. Yelling at you. Mindscape going unstable, or something like that. Said Naruto. I think I know why as well. I'm not even going into that, and I'll be seeing her tonight at the earliest. Hinata gave a nod. Naruto shook his head and asked, do you mind if I hold your hand, Ben? Not at all. Their fingers interlocked as they grasped each other's hand. They escaped a trap and returned to the others. Fortunately, Naruto anticipated this. He swiftly got them both out of it. Sasuke arched an eyebrow at Naruto when they reached the others, but he smirked upon seeing the glare. He has figured it out already. Conversely, Ino had the gossiping side come out. Alright, so what happened you two? Both Hinata and Naruto flushed. Sakura smirked as she noticed the blush. Hey, Sasuke? He informed her, yeah, they are. Honestly, I'm not surprised at his choice. He's not likely to admit it, but he has a thing for her, and he knows she likes him. Even Akane knows, and she teases him constantly because of it. Sakura grinned. Akane introduced herself to all of them. but she only told Sasuke and Hinata who she truly was. I don't get why Akane is in his mindscape, though. And why is her last name Kitsune? I've been curious about that for a while now, but never asked. Sakura said as she gazed at Naruto. She shook her head when Sasuke raised an eyebrow, asking, "Are you going fangirl on me?" He's a friend, so I'm just curious. I know you don't like fangirls, and neither does he, so I've been trying to avoid going there. It doesn't mean anything but trouble and rejection. You can thank Naruto for teaching me that. That caused Sasuke to smile. I would tell you, but I can't just yet. I made a promise, and I intend to keep it. Besides, the law is the reason I even made that promise in the first place. By the way, have you heard anything about a guy going by the name of Kitsune Warrior? Sakura gave a nod. He saved me once. Naruto started training me a few days later. If not for him, I'd just be a book nerd. Then again, Ino's the biggest on gossip. She's bound to know more than me. Why do you ask? Sasuke's face was a little sad as he gazed at her. He's the one who saved both my mother and myself during the Uchiha massacre. It's only because of him that we are alive, and I didn't get lost to vengeance. Him and Naruto both. Thing is, I haven't seen him since then. I've been wanting to thank him in person, but every time I ask Naruto to get him, he only says that he doesn't show himself unless it's necessary, and he never removes his mask. Sakura gave that a nod. Sasuke gave her a startled look and said, "Well, he did whisper something before he left me, though it wasn't said to me. I have a feeling that he is somehow related to the Yondaime." What was it? I'm not completely sure, but I thought he said Hiraishin. That's the Yondaime's personal jutsu, and how he gained the alias Yellow Flash. The only difference I could see was it was orange, not yellow, Sakura said with a sigh. Sasuke gazed in wonder at Naruto. It's not possible, could it? Sakura, did Naruto tell you the name of his taijutsu style? Sakura raised an eyebrow and said, "Yeah, the Kitsune style. I've never seen it before, nor have I even heard of it before he told me." Why? That resolves the matter. Just in case. If you ever meet him again, call him Naruto. See how he reacts. If I'm right on my theory, Naruto could very well be the Kitsune warrior. Suddenly, Naruto was there. He frightened them to death, saying, "You finally figured it out, Sasuke." Sasuke was the first to recover. You mean? Yup. That was me. In fact, the only one here he hasn't helped out is Shikamaru. It's my way of field testing things in real combat, without showing who I really am. Don't tell anyone I said that, though. Same with who he really is. If you see him, call him Kitsune. Naruto replied. Both of them gave a nod. Then Sakura came to a realization. Are you related to the Yondaime somehow? Naruto nodded and grinned. Then, how? Naruto took a scroll out. He drew his mother after himself. There was a line between Kushina and the Yondaime that reached all the way to him. This is how. Another thing that would be best kept a secret, especially from ninja from Iwagakure. They'd be after me no matter how old I was. That's the only reason that it's not public yet. Still, it will be made public either when I turn 16 or become a Chunin. Whichever comes first. It's obvious they're already after the Kitsune warrior. After all, he does have the Hiraishin. Hinata approached them. Hey, Naruto-kun. I just heard something from my mother. Your mother, and Sasuke's mother were on a team when they were genin. I'd be a little surprised if they put us on a team together, but if they did. Second generation squad. Another possibility of a second generation is Ino, Shikamaru and Choji. The Ino, Shika, Cho, composed of their fathers. That's only 2 of the 3 successful teams. The final one was comprised of the Sannin, one of which went rogue some time ago. The guy's a bastard, but not as big a threat as Madara. Now is when what I taught you all will be useful. Remember, history is written by the victor. True history is what matters, and reveals more truth than smoke and mirrors, such as written history. A.N. It's a quote from Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, said by Captain Price at the start of one of the campaign's missions. I can't recall the name, so don't ask which one. I only have a copy of the game. I don't own the original. When Naruto said that, they all nodded. Well, that's enough of that. There's something I want to show you all. Something that you all know, but don't know about. Kushina gave him a look. Naruto gave her a nod and asked, Are you sure about that, sweetie? Yes, Mom. They've all met Akane before, however, only 2 of them know who she really is. I only let them know that because their parents were teammates with you as genin. It's something I figured I should trust them with, but now the rest of them need to know the full story. Kushina gave a nod. Alright everyone, Gather around. We're heading into my mindscape, and since you've all been there, you know how it's done," Naruto said as he entered. The mindscape of Naruto. They all found themselves in a huge field. In front of them all was Naruto. There were several animals on or near Akane. Everyone was there, she realized. "Hey. Thanks for putting these animals in here. They've been good friends for a while. They're a lot more peaceful, and adds a more natural feel to the place." Naruto merely gave a nod. "You're welcome. Anyway, as you all know, this is Akane. However, only my mother, Anko, Sasuke and Hinata know who she really is, according to my knowledge anyway." Hikari and Makoto grinned. Akane noticed the smiles. "You do realize I can see you two smirking, right? You want me to remove them?" The smirks vanished instantly. Smart choice. Anywho, you all know me as Akane, and even talk of me outside. However, only a select few of you know who I really am. Don't be surprised at what you're about to hear, and don't be scared, whether the situation seems to warrant it, or not. You all call me Akane. However, you all know me by my title. The Kyuubi no Kitsune, or Kyuubi no Yoko. Maybe just Kyuubi. Those who were unaware were sent up a wall. The others smiled or smirked. With the gravity cannon in both hands, Naruto remarked, "Akane, if you lose your temper this time, you're getting put in the gravity cannon. Some of you know pieces of the story 12 years ago. It's time you learn the full story, start to finish." Before going into detail, Akane said, I know. Geez, you'd think I get a break from that. Well, at least this should be the last time I have to explain it. And that's what happened that day. The only reason I'm calm right now is because of what happened last time I tried teasing him, after explaining this. Sasuke and Hinata know about that. All eyes were on Sasuke and Hinata as they nodded. "It's true, and she was a little scared at that point," said Hinata. "After something like that, I'm not surprised." Naruto gave a nod. "Now that you know this, no one can know that you do. If anyone finds out, your goose is cooked, and if I don't, Akane or the Anbu will. Of that, I can guarantee. Still, I wonder who my sensei will be. Probably one of the weaker ones. Though, if it's Kakashi," he continued. Everyone's eyes were on him. Kushina gave a nod. "Yeah, that would seem likely. Knowing the council, they'll try and get Sasuke to train under him, as well." Hikari gave them a look. "If that's the case, and Hinata is placed with them, we got ourselves a second-generation team." Makoto gave a nod. Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji nod in agreement as they say, "I know the Ino. Shika. Cho trio is going to have a second generation. Present company confirms that. We'd have a repeat of two of the best genin teams in Konoha's history." Everybody gazed at them. Sasuke posed an inquiry. "How exactly did you all handle the work as a team?" After glancing at him, Kushina, Makoto, and Hikari turned to face one another. "Well, we got by helping each other out in our blind spots. Hikari, having the Byakugan, can cover us and find incoming attacks. Makoto, with her Sharingan, can see things a lot more clearly than most. She didn't use it that often, and only did during a C rank or above. I was best with my sword, Uzahime, and seals. However, I was more versatile than either of them, and could cover almost any attack, close range or long range. It didn't matter. However, this time, it would be different." Everyone's eyes were on Kushina. Makoto questioned, "How so, Kushina?" Eyes went wide and some fainted when Kushina said, "My son has a dojutsu, and I didn't. I never have. Akane, do you think it would be a good idea to tell them what it is? We should wake those that fainted up, first. I'm not doing so, for the simple fact that if I did, they'd be in a lot of pain, and Naruto would have a lot more," Akane replied. Naruto grinned. "I got this." Over those who had passed out, tiny clouds formed. The clouds began to saturate them until they were struck in the chest by lightning. Fortunately, none of the girls had passed out because those who did had their shirts blown off in front of everyone. Time freeze list of people who passed out. Inazuka Kiba. Akamichi Choji Nara Shikamaru. The list of people who fainted ends here. Time resume. The victims were smoking from their surprisingly well developed chests, particularly with regard to Shikamaru. Naruto was taken aback by Shikamaru's physique. Although it wasn't a buff, it was far superior to most Nara. He was at least muscular. It demonstrated that he exercised and practiced some martial arts. "You been working out, Shikamaru?" "Don't make a big deal out of it. My family loves relaxing, so once you gave me ideas on how to make a clone from my shadow, I started working out while it relaxed. No one even knows about this yet, and as far as anyone knows, Shadow possession clones don't exist. At least they work similar to your shadow clones. The only difference I have with mine is that they can hit someone and paralyze them for a limited time. After that, it's just like the shadow possession jutsu from my clan, and there is no range. It comes in handy, and I don't want the other Nara clan members to know of it right now. He was laughed at by all. What? Surprisingly, the only person who didn't laugh was Akane. They find it surprising that a Nara clan member had worked out, and even used trickery. They never use tricks, aside from their own jutsu. In Naruto's case, it's because of that, and you took his advice seriously. I'm surprised myself, honestly. However, I don't think it deserves a laugh. At least there's one somewhat level-headed person in here. It's too troublesome to keep up with them. Instead of doing nothing, I did something. Since my family happens to be great strategists, regardless of the fact they're lazy as hell, they have some of the highest IQ in the village. The sad thing is, they never do anything good with it. You could say Naruto helped me be different, and that's that. There's nothing wrong with it, and I know it. Experience says the same thing now. You really did learn a few things useful. That brain of yours is useless if you can't apply what you come up with. I know, but usually, I don't have to come up with something like that. By the way, how did he get the idea of using my own shadow to create a clone? He's more of a winger than a planner. He comes up with things on the spot when he can. That's the way all Uzumaki are. It's strange, and call me crazy if you want, but I think I'm starting to like the kid. Akane continued. Don't tell him I said that, though. I'm not sure how he truly feels about me, and how he could like me. Sure, he wants to get rid of Madara, but after hearing what he's done, anyone would too. Shikamaru gave a nod. I know that if it comes to that, I'd want to be there. If he's going after him, he's not going alone. He's never truly alone. Remember, I'm sealed within him. Well, until you are out of here, I'd count you both as one. I know he's not a demon, but since you and him share a body, you are treated as one. At least, that's I'm looking at it. You're nothing like the adults said, and no one has spoken of you in a few years. Still, I wonder why that is. Let's just say I helped the council catch a major criminal, and helped Naruto execute him on the spot. That was the end of Danzo Shimura. He and Sarutobi have the same ideals, but their ways of achieving it is where they differ. How so? Danzo was a war hawk. He believed that war could solve any problem. Even I disagree with him. However, everything he did, though he did it for a good reason, it doesn't excuse the crimes he committed. What he's done will not accomplish what he wants, and anything accomplished the wrong way is not worth having. Even we Kitsune have a code. The others were starting to lose their laughter. I figured as much. There are laws anywhere you go, and nothing can change that. Even here. True. The law here is Naruto's word. He doesn't always show it, but the only one that's always here, being me. I know who's the one in control here. As much as I want to get out, I know it's not safe out there. Especially for someone like me. Akane said with a sense of disappointment. Then Shikamaru took hold of her shoulder. There's not much to worry about there. By the time word gets out, anyone who hated you before, will suddenly feel sorry for you. Aside from the idealists, and stubborn bastards, but you can ignore them. I figure someone like you would know how to do that. Akane broke down in tears. Her tears were wiped away. Thank you, I appreciate what you're doing, but right now, she said. I have a job to do, and I'm not leaving it unfinished. Naruto has been trained by me since he was 4, also he could help me take down Madara when he comes back. How do you know he will come back? During our time in Kirigakure, we faced off with Sanbi no Yagura. As he was on his deathbed, he told us that Madara had placed both him and the Sanbi under a genjutsu. The same one I was under, at that. It was then that we figured out he didn't summon me for no particular reason. He's after the Biju. Thanks to that, he'll be coming after me sometime in the future. I want Naruto to be ready for anything he could throw at us, and for that I trained him myself. Being as I'm the only one that's fought him and is still living. Everyone's eyes were on her. Shikamaru continued to speak despite being aware that others were listening. Well, you are sealed, but you're still alive. Guilty as charged. Still, I have other reasons for helping him out now. I recently got in contact with my father, who is the only one living that has faced off with the dojutsu he has. Normally, it's a lot more dangerous to the user than the target, but this time, the side effects are almost non-existent. Naruto gave her a fierce look. What do you mean, Akane? I got the message while you were taking the graduation exams. Taijutsu portion. I read over it a few times, and he told me of the original side effects. Only one of which has actually shown itself, and that's at the initial activation. His chakra reserves double or even triple. His went between the two, jumping him from mid Chunin at age 4, to just shy of cage level when it activated. This is not including my Yuki, which he can use as his chakra. That bumps it up to at least 10 times cage level. He's got that much chakra at his disposal. The eyes of all widened. Kushina gave Akane a look. Why didn't you say anything like that before? It wasn't necessary. Besides, knowing you, you could figure it out somewhat easily. I already told him that when he activated that Dujutsu, though it was painful, it made his chakra reserves skyrocket. Naruto said, perplexing everyone except Akane, who nodded. Kushina and Anko, she did. I had to work on my control even more than before because of it. Still, I think we can get to the specifics of the Hunter Eye. Well, this is how it goes. Akane explained all of its capabilities. As for the side effects, the original had blindness as one of them, though he does not. In addition, like the Sharingan, it has multiple levels that one can achieve. He's only gotten to the second level, from what I know. It requires more chakra to be sent to it in a steady stream in order to maintain its activation. Otherwise, you only need to send chakra to it once and you've got it active until you remove the chakra from it. Akane took a moment to digest the information. There is more, however. Activating it is painful as hell the first time around. It knocked him out when he did, too. I also see that it has become a bloodline, therefore his children will gain it as well. This is where Sasuke spoke. What would happen if someone from, say, the Uchiha clan came along, and he had kids? What would happen then? The kids would not gain the Sharingan. Instead, they would activate the Hunter Eye. The same goes with the Byakugan. The eye color could still be the same, denoting the heir of a Hyuga. However, the Byakugan will never manifest enough to use it. The same goes for the Uchiha. Same eye color, different abilities. Her focus shifted as Hinata said, Akane? Do you think that it's possible that you could help me with a little something I've been trying to work out? I don't have all the possibilities yet, and it's about something that I utterly hate and wish to change. What would this be? The caged bird seal. I always hated the seal, and if there's anything I truly want to do, it's to get rid of the damn thing. It's dangerous, manipulative, and it gets worse. I have all the information on it, since I'm a main branch member, so if you need any information on it to help out, I'd be glad to give it to you. Hinata said with no stutter. Caged bird, huh? Well, I know why it's used, and there is a safer way to keep the Byakugan safe. I know of it, as does Naruto. In fact, why haven't you put the thing on her, Naruto? Didn't think it was necessary just yet. Remember, she has a lot more in her than most think. Although, I have a feeling that if something like this were used, she would never have to worry about getting branded with the cage bird seal, replied Naruto. Now, what did I tell you about being prepared? I didn't forget about that. In fact, the only thing keeping me from even placing it now are personal interests. Hinata gave him a look. Naruto shook his head and asked, you know the way, already? Is it possible to get rid of it? Akane started talking. Unfortunately, there is nothing we can do to remove it. The way it is applied, it can only be stopped from being put there in the first place, which the one we came up with does. The pupils widened. Akane gave Hinata a shake when she asked, is it possible to detect this one? I mean, if it uses chakra, then it's possible they'd be able to spot it. Not this. It does use chakra, but the chakra is not a resident of the seal. The Byakugan can't find it. Chakra is used in the forming of the envy seal, as we call it, but after the fact, it's not even visible to the naked eye, and I highly doubt that the Sharingan and Byakugan can detect it. Sure as hell no, the Hunter Eye can't. Again, what the hell do you mean? Tell me, Naru. Can you see it on me? Naruto gave a headshake. He shook his head once more and said, activate it, and look. Left arm. Akane looked around at the others. See what I mean? The Hunter Eye can't even spot it. Shikamaru had one more query. I have one more question right now. Why did you call it an envy seal? I mean, envy is a bad thing to go around with. Shikamaru, envy is short for environment. That's why the Byakugan can't detect it. Naruto felt anxious. What the hell? Even Akane, who was grinning, turned to face him. I think we're done here. Who wants to try their luck at a rogue Chunin? Sasuke, Hinata, and Naruto all held up their hands. Just 3, huh? Well then, let's get going you 3. Mizuki seems to be leaving the village, probably trying to get out with that scroll he's carrying. Kushina was nervous. The scroll. About how big is it? Probably 3 feet long, maybe 6 inches in diameter. That's the Hokage's forbidden scroll. We have to stop him. A hand was placed on her shoulder by Naruto. Mom, let us take care of this. We may only be genin and without an official team, But this could turn out for a good show, and make them think that a second generation of your team is possible. When you think about it, it gives some grounds for it. Kushina gave a nod. Alright, everyone. It's time we get out of here. I'll be waiting for the next visit. With the exception of Akane, they all glowed before departing the mindscape. Outside. With 6 eyes full of resolve, everyone opened their eyes. Sasuke, Hinata. Let's move. I already have his current path, and can get us there without much trouble. It's near a safe house I have, so that makes getting to him easy. Remember, we take out his body, but leave his head. The scroll must be intact. Naruto said with 2 nods. Sasuke grasped a shoulder, and Hinata a wrist. Hiraishin. Most of the others were shocked when they vanished with an orange light. The only thing Kushina said was, show off. Her response to this caused Makoto and Hikari to laugh. Makoto shrugged and said, hey, Kushi. How many safe houses does he have? I don't know. I do know of 3, but none in that path. Makoto gave a nod. Then, I think I can see where things are going. I think we should let Sarutobi know what's going on. Kushina gave a nod. Hikari? Hikari put his fist up in the air and pointed it between the 2 others, saying, say no more. The Kunoichi trio is back. Makoto and Kushina followed suit, giving each other a 3. Woman fist bump. A-N. The 3 women's fists connecting at the middle is the same as the 3 men's fist bump, but 3 men are doing it. Using a shunshin, the 3 of them departed. The others remained and made an effort to enjoy themselves. Without Naruto, it was difficult. Those who were unaware of his lively nature observed that the fun was diminished in his absence. Roof of the Hokage's tower. Kushina, Makoto, and Hikari landed directly in front of Sarutobi as he was giving orders to Anbu. Lord Hokage, there is no need to send Anbu after him. My son, along with Makoto's son, and Hikari's first daughter are after him as we speak, in a 3-man cell. I know my son is capable, and it could provide the basis for their teams, since they don't have one yet. Sarutobi gave her a look. You expect me to believe that 3 genin, fresh out of the academy, could pull something like this off? Makoto grinned. No, we don't expect you to believe it. However, from my understanding you know Naruto's abilities. You know full well he's capable of it. This is an effort to show some teamwork, in my opinion. See how well they work together. Hikari and Kushina both nodded. Sarutobi gazed thoughtfully. Anbu, change in plans. Find Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha, and Hinata Hyuga, and watch their progress. If the situation goes bleak, step in. Otherwise, you are simply to observe. Only 2 of you are to go. Sir. They departed in a shunshin, 2 of them. With Naruto. Sasuke recalled that Naruto, Sasuke, and Hinata were at a safe house. Hinata turned to face Sasuke and said, this is the place. Naruto simply grinned. I know. You and your mother stayed here, at my request. Let's move. He's this way. Following Naruto, the 3 of them leapt into the trees. While Naruto kept his hunter eye dormant, Hinata activated her Byakugan. Sasuke's Sharingan was still unlocked. Naruto.kun? It's not active because I don't really need it at this point. I'm using my chakra senses, not the hunter eye. He has yet to change course, meaning we are on a collision course with him. Be ready for a fight, because he's going to put one up. Naruto replied. Both Hinata and Sasuke nodded. Also, if you see me throw any shuriken or kunai at him, get back. Don't want you hit with it. Another round of nods. They were aware of his topic. Naruto sensed Anbu's presence just a few seconds later. To Anbu. Is he really sending someone else too? Wait a minute. Their path is towards us, not him. Hey, thanks mom. Hinata and Sasuke grinned. As Hinata put it, let's go guys. Naruto.kun. Each of them gave a nod. After just 2 minutes, Naruto discovered Mizuki was nearby. The others recognized the signal he gave them right away. But the Anbu did not. All they knew was that he was giving them a signal. As they all accelerated, the Anbu also accelerated slightly. They didn't have to because Mizuki struck a tree after Naruto knocked him out of the gate. Mizuki screamed, what the hell? Mizuki. I was wondering when you'd show your true colors, Mizuki. Stealing the Hokage's forbidden scroll is punishable by death. Especially if you were taking it to another village, or a rogue. This marks you as a rogue, and thus, we are going to take your head, Naruto replied. Mizuki gave him a look. You brat, you honestly think a demon can do anything to me? Hinata simply exuded killing intent as she gave Mizuki Kushina's death glare. Don't you dare call him a demon. Naruto said as her chakra levels abruptly increased. It was much higher than she had ever displayed, he discovered. That was Sasuke's only thought. Mizuki is fucked. Naruto, Hinata, I figure I should let you two handle him. Hinata is pissed, and Naruto, you have the experience. I'll cover you two from a distance. Sasuke replied. With a nod, Naruto combined Akane's chakra with his own, resulting in yet another enormous increase in chakra. With the two Anbu were staring at them in amazement. How are the chakra levels of those two so high? Naruto does, of course, because he is a Jinchuriki, but does Hinata as well? The Anbu wearing a cat mask stated, I don't know what's going on, but I think they can handle it. One was wearing a tiger mask. Cat said, Tiger, what do you think? If something bad happens, I'll step in and stop them. For now, we wait as ordered. Tiger responded. With Mizuki was looking at both of them. Sasuke started to make hand gestures. As a first strike, Sasuke hurled Kaden Grand Fireball Jutsu at Mizuki. It was avoided by Mizuki. Too easy. The others had already gone around him, but he was unaware of it. He was knocked over to Hinata by Naruto, who used a chakra enhanced strike to hit him in a chakra point. In the end, Mizuki coughed up blood. How? Sasuke, Hinata, and Naruto exchanged glances. Sasuke raised his voice. I think the only thing we need is his head. We could let the Anbu take care of the rest. Mizuki was surprised when Naruto shook his head. We chose to do this, and we're going to finish it. I'll behead him, since he's immobilized from that hit Hinata gave him. Probably hit the nucleolus chakra point, am I right? Hinata grinned. After that, you burn the body with a fire jutsu. We'll take the head, and the scroll to the Anbu so they can take care of him for the rest of the time. Both Hinata and Sasuke nodded. Naruto applied the blood to his right hand after biting his thumb. In that hand, his sword materialized. He approached Mizuki and easily cut right through his neck. Sasuke went over some hand signs while Hinata grabbed the head. The scroll was already in Naruto's grasp. Kaden Grand Fireball Jutsu. Only ashes and burn marks remained after Mizuki's body was completely destroyed by fire. Naruto corrected that by slamming both hands to the ground and performing a few hand signs himself. Doten. Environmental reset. Everything that had briefly appeared to be a battlefield now appeared as though the battle had never taken place. Naruto said, that's better. Let's go. They all nodded and proceeded directly to the Anbu. Right. Hokage's workspace Hikari, Makoto, and Kushina were grinning as they watched the entire event. Sarutobi felt somewhat impressed. Their teamwork is a lot better than I expected. The Kunoichi gave a nod. If you don't mind my asking, who do you think would be a good candidate for a team as good as this? Hikari and Makoto turned to Kushina. Kakashi Hatake. Naruto is already familiar with him, and he knows Naruto's abilities better than you do. I also feel that the council will want him to train Sasuke, since he has the Sharingan. As for Hinata, that's just a bit of insurance on all of them. Once Sasuke unlocks his Sharingan, this will be a Dujutsu team, and a second-generation team. Do you see where I'm going with this? Sarutobi gazed thoughtfully. I agree. This is obviously a massively good team as it is. Once Sasuke unlocks his Dujutsu, it will easily be a Dujutsu team. Something that is rare, even in Konoha. In addition for it being a second-generation team, I think the council will have no choice in the matter. They will probably want it as a full-blown team, either way. With Kakashi as a Junin sensei, they won't refuse it period. If they do, I'll be surprised. They all gave a nod. After a few days, Konoha Academy. For the team placement, everyone was present. They were sitting in a group, the so-called Rookie 9. They worked on team strategy since they knew that Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji would be on a team. Due to their test run against Mizuki, Naruto, Sasuke, and Hinata had little teamwork to do. Although they weren't too bad, Kiba, Shino, and Sakura still needed to improve their teamwork. Iruka entered and made the teams known. Teams 1-6 weren't very good. Team 7 will consist of Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha. They both grinned at A.N. Kanon, Wise, and Hinata Hyuga. Hinata grinned, but her face was slightly flushed. Your sensei will be Kakashi Hatake. At that, Naruto stiffened. Hinata and Naruto turned to face him and said, Iruka. Sensei, I just have one question about my team. Why is Kakashi our sensei? I mean, I know he's capable, but I already passed him after that trip when I was 5. Plus, he's almost always late. Haruka was simply staring at him. But what he was saying made Sasuke and Hinata nervous. Hinata was aware that his statement was serious. These placements are the orders of Lord Hokage. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. Naruto grinned. It appears that mom was involved in more than I initially believed. Akane, a friend of the family as a sensei. I never imagined it would be simple. I know, right? Although, if I'm right about this, your mother convinced the old coot right after your fight with Mizuki. That would give you massively good grounds to become a team. Also, since Kakashi was trained by your father, and he has the Sharingan, he can also help out Sasuke after his Sharingan awakens. We could help out too, but not as much, or in the same way. As for Hinata, that makes this a second-generation squad. I got it. Team 9 was inspected by Iruka, A.N. More nobodies. There were more nobodies on the other teams. Team 10 consists of Ino Yamanaka, Shikamaru Nara, and Choji Akamichi. Your sensei is Asuma Sarutobi. Before he noticed Naruto snickering, Iruka said, Okay, all of you wait here for your Junin sensei. They will be here shortly. What's so funny, Naruto? Most of the genin gave Naruto a glare when he said, It's nothing. Just that my sensei is going to be here in 3 hours or so. 2.5, if we're lucky. Iruka gave him a wary glance. What makes you say that, then? You do realize what a Junin is, do you not? Naruto gave a nod. Although Iruka raised an eyebrow, she dismissed it, saying, I just know him personally. That's all I'm going to say on that. They were the Junin. When Asuma, Kurenai Yuhi, Sakura, Kiba, and Shino's Junin sensei entered, they all said their final goodbyes to one another. Hinata was watching as Naruto and Sasuke played shogi. The duration of the game was 2 hours. After half an hour, the door opened. When Kakashi poked his head in, the blackboard eraser struck his jewels. Naruto didn't even give him a glance. Naruto placed his hand on the cards they were playing with and they vanished. That's what you get for being late, Kakashi. Sensei. I could just tell my mother, but that wouldn't do any good. We need you alive, not dead. Kakashi shut the door and said, Meet me on the roof in 5 minutes. I hate classrooms. They all grinned. Hinata questioned, Naruto-kun, how did you set that up? The eraser had a seal on it, to hit Kakashi. Sensei's jewels the moment he stuck his head in the door. You could say, it was to get him back for being late. I have other good ways of doing things, and if he's late to the roof, or more than 10 minutes late thanks to that, he's getting something else he wouldn't expect. Naruto replied. Sasuke received 2 nods when he said, Well, what are you waiting for? Let's get going. They all nodded and leapt out the window, running up the wall to the roof. Let's go out the window. Don't want people knowing about the Hiraishin still being around. I don't use it unless I have to. After 8 minutes, the roof Kakashi approached the roof. Well, let's start with introductions, since technically, I don't know you all that well. Naruto raised 3 eyebrows and said, Why don't you go first, Kakashi? I mean, someone has to show us how it's done. Well, as you know, my name is Kakashi Hitaki. I have many likes, and few dislikes. My dreams. They died some time ago. You're first. He gestured toward Sasuke. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I have few likes, and there are a lot of things I dislike, but there is one thing I hate more than anything else, and that happens to be fangirls. I don't have a dream, because, since my clan's near extinction, I have had most ties destroyed. I have found new ties, since then, and I'm working on making good times with them. He turned to Naruto. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I like many things, and ramen. I dislike fangirls, but utterly hate those that mess with my friends. My dream is unimportant at this point in time. Kakashi turned to Hinata. My name is Hinata Hyuga. I like a certain blonde, a few other things. I dislike very few things, but utterly hate how the side branches of my clan are treated, and those that threaten the one. I love. My dream is to help Naruto with his dream. It's a tough one, but someone's got to do it, and I'm not letting him do so alone. Kakashi gave them all a nod. Well then, since there is normally another genin test to go through, I'll be counting that rogue incident you helped out with as that, so you'll be starting your missions tomorrow. You have already proved you can work together, and know each other's strengths and weaknesses. All of them grinned and nodded. Just know that little A rank aside, you will have to go through D rank missions, since you are still fresh genin. Rules are rules, and I have to follow them. I'll be working to at least get you a C rank, for a while. So if I'm late to a team meeting, it's likely because of that until then. Meet at Training Field 7 tomorrow at 1000. I will try not to be late, Kakashi stated prior to using the Shunshin. Naruto exchanged glances with the others. Naruto remarked, well, that could have gone worse. How so? He could have had us take the bell test. He went through it, and I will admit that I went through it already as well. This was before I had come back from my trip. Hiraishin was out of the question, and not to be used. Heck, I couldn't use either of my dad's jutsu, said Naruto. Sasuke and Hinata gave him a scowl. You're not supposed to talk about that, remember? Yeah, I remember. My father's side wasn't made public, so you can see why things are better off now than before. Naruto replied. Still, don't discount the D ranks. There are more to them than meets the eye. Think of it as exercise, and you'll do better. I mean, I was farming for a week with my bare hands. No tools allowed. It got my hands pretty resistant to pain. Sasuke gave him an odd look. Hinata merely let out a sigh. You know, he does have point. Sasuke gave her the same expression. What do you mean? Think about it. If you can do things differently than others, wouldn't it mean that by doing the same things others do, but in a way that constitutes training ourselves, it could work out? Hinata replied. Naruto gave her a smile. That was the point. D ranks, though boring, can sharpen up our skills, even if we don't need it. Still, weapons won't be used during D ranks. There is no need for any of them to be used. Naruto replied. They all nodded when he said, I learned that firsthand. Hinata, since you explained it, where should we go to eat? I am hungry. Sasuke and Naruto nodded and said, there's a good barbecue restaurant downtown. How about there? Good idea. I've been wanting barbecue for a while now, Sasuke replied. As the others departed, Naruto questioned, then what are we waiting for? Naruto flocked to Black Energy and said, looks like they don't intend on waiting. Oh well. He mumbled, gravity teleport. Barbecue restaurant as Naruto, Hinata, and Sasuke entered, Team 10 was present. The only person who noticed was Shikamaru. Ino and Choji turned to where Shikamaru was searching and discovered Team 7. Hey guys. What's the deal with your sensei? They asked. Asuma didn't even give them a glance. Well, due to that little incident with that scroll, we're lined up for D ranks tomorrow, Sasuke replied. Asuma turned to them at that moment. What do you mean? You were supposed to take the next part tomorrow. Well, if you count capturing and eliminating a rogue Chunin, while returning the Hokage's forbidden scroll, while using teamwork, you can't say it doesn't exist. We know each other's abilities, and can apply several strategies that could work well with our skill sets. Hinata replied. At that, Asuma stopped talking, and his Genin team grinned. You really should find out more about us. You don't know what we're capable of, and some of us might surprise you, said Shikamaru. Word of advice from your friendly neighborhood Nara. Naruto's expression turned serious as he gazed at them. Ino managed to catch it. Naruto simply nodded in response to the question. It's time, isn't it? Well then, I guess that means we're good to go. Shikamaru? Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to change my outfit to something more manageable, to my personal skill set, replied Shikamaru. And Choji? I'm already good. I still have those techniques Naruto told me about, and I did master them some time ago, said Choji. Naruto grinned. That's what he's been doing a lot lately. Well, remember not to underestimate your opponent. That will lead to your downfall faster than arrogance. Each of them gave a nod. Naruto sat down in the booth beside them, with Sasuke at his side and Hinata on the other, and said, okay, team stuff aside, let's eat. 1 hour later, Team 7 was preparing to leave, and Team 10 was departing. Well, see you guys tomorrow. Even though he said he would try, I'm not sure if he will. It's possible, but can't guarantee he will be on time. To be sure, be there about 10 minutes early. Naruto replied, receiving a number of nods. Approximately 1 month later, the next mission was being briefed to Team 7. Using the D ranks, Sarutobi was determining which one would work best for them. Nothing as of yet. Lord Hokage, I believe my team should go for a C rank. It has been a month, and I can tell that they are bored with them. Why not give them a bit of a challenge to get them to settle down? Kakashi offered. Sarutobi grinned and arched an eyebrow. Haruka was there, but she had other ideas. Your team is only fresh genin. A C rank could get them killed. Calm yourself, Haruka. Kakashi, you've been after this for what, 3 weeks? Kakashi gave a nod. And now you finally speak up in the briefing room. I believe I can give you a recently added C rank. The genin smiled as he glanced at him. Naruto's smile melted when he was told, Your mission is to protect a bridge builder on his way to Wave Country, from bandits and the like. He had one thought. I'd bet that Gato is now pursuing Tazuna because he didn't listen. Probably not far off either. Sasuke gave Sarutobi a look. Who's the client? Send him in. An elderly man entered. He held a bottle of sake and said, What? They're sending kids, nowadays. I'll bet they're just wet behind the ears. In contrast to Sasuke and Hinata, Naruto didn't even glance at him. Naruto spoke without ever looking at him before they could respond. It's been a long time, Tazuna. What was it? 7, 8 years. Tazuna's expression changed from half-drunk to startled and sober. That voice matched what he said, and he recognized it. Naruto. He called him out, which surprised Sasuke, Sakura, and Iruka. Kakashi wasn't even a little shocked. This result somewhat surprised Sarutobi. I think I already know why you need protection, so you don't really have to explain it. Just know that I have your back, regardless. It wouldn't do for me to save your daughter, at only 5 years old, and abandon you when your life could be in danger. His tone was tentative when he said he could. Sarutobi heard it, but Tazuna interrupted him before he could respond. I guess I'm lucky you're here. I'm not sure I'd trust anyone else around here, other than Kakashi and your mother. I just didn't expect you this early. Naruto grinned. He gave Kakashi a thumbs up and said, Well, you don't have one of us here. You got two. Tazuna glanced at him and said, Even as a genin, he's still my sensei. Ironic when I think about it. Well, I know they can do a good job with these two on board. I mean, Naruto is one of the best I know. Kakashi turned to face the group. Alright, be at the gate in 2 hours. Pack up for a few weeks, because it's a 3-day trip to Wave. I'll be looking after Tazuna until then. Naruto gave a headshake. Kakashi glanced at him and noticed that he was thinking about something else. I don't think so. I need to discuss a few things with Tazuna before anything else happens. Catch up, you know? She said. He did not confront him about it. Naruto and Tazuna departed from his team and said, Let's go, Tazuna. With Naruto an hour later. So let me get this straight. A few days after we left Wave, Gato started things back up. You're trying to build a bridge to free Wave Country, and now he's after your head because of it. Am I correct so far? Replied Naruto. That's it in a nutshell. What do you think I should do? After Kaiza died, it wasn't easy on the village. Without you, Inari's gone silent and solo. He needs to get over the past, and look to the future. I mention your name, and he breaks down immediately. Naruto simply had a serious expression. Tazuna gave him a terrified look and said, I'm going to kill that bastard. What do you mean? Before I left, right after Kaiza was executed, I sent a shadow clone after Gato and issued my ultimatum. If he didn't stop what he was doing to Wave, and I found out, I was going to find him, and I was going to kill him. Well, he didn't stop. I heard about it. Now he's gonna die. I'm gonna take care of it personally. However, not as Naruto. I'm sure you heard about the Kitsune warrior appearing near Kirigakure, did you not? Tazuna gave a nod. A nod said, I take it that was you? Well then, I'm not surprised if you issued a warning like that to him right before you left. If you see me put on a mask similar to a fox, that means I'm dead serious. My entire team knows about it already, and some of my more spectacular jutsu. Most of which I didn't know when I was in Wave. Naruto replied with a wink. Well, I'm done with what I got. What about you? How are things on your end? Konoha East Gate. It was surprising that Kakashi arrived on time. Hinata and Sasuke had already arrived. It was almost time, and Naruto was nowhere to be found. Sasuke became impatient and asked, Where is he? Probably had a lot to talk about. It's been almost 8 years since they last saw each other, said Kakashi. Well, here they come, and not a minute too soon. Hinata and Sasuke gazed at him. What exactly did you guys talk about? I guess we'll explain when the time comes, although, it was mainly family and our lives since we last saw each other, said Naruto. Knowing he wouldn't elaborate until then, they nodded. With Tazuna in the center of a delta formation, they exclaimed, Okay, let's go, as they left the gate. Tazuna and Team 7 had just departed Konoha for Wave. Kakashi was the only one who realized Naruto was on high alert. Since Hinata never saw him on high alert, she could only assume that he was. Not once. Kakashi chose to approach Naruto. Naruto, why? Though his tone was the same as when he threatened, Naruto whispered, He didn't heed my warning. He is after Tazuna. I wouldn't be surprised if this mission went from C rank to A rank in a heartbeat. It indicated that he was taking his words very seriously. After recalling what he had said on the boat, Kakashi paused to consider what he had said. Rewind. His eyes widened as Kushina and Kakashi gazed at him. I don't appreciate the fact he went and killed someone who had their heart in the right place, and to make up for me not doing anything I gave him an ultimatum. That was it, and if I find out he didn't, I will find him, and I will kill him. Simple as that. Flashback end. That's when Kakashi realized what he meant. Well, we can't up the rank until something happens. Until then, this is considered a C rank. Naruto gave a wink. I was expecting that from you. Hinata was the only one who heard them talk as they kept walking. She glanced at Sasuke and grinned. From the corner of his eye, he noticed the smirk. The phrase, "This is an A rank," was mouthed by her. Sasuke began to grin as well. Although he kept it a secret, Kakashi saw that they all went on high alert. When they came upon a puddle, Naruto stiffened. When they all saw it, Kakashi briefly let his guard down. When Hinata saw, she prepared for a brawl. Naruto had already prepared himself. Sasuke could assist, even though he was aware that he wouldn't be as skilled as the others. At that moment, two creatures emerged from a puddle and headed directly for Kakashi. They bound him with a chain and strained him until he broke. Naruto cried, "Hinata! Sasuke! 32D!" Using a shuriken, Sasuke went for the chain and struck it against a tree. He then used a kunai, which passed through the shuriken's hole. As instructed by Naruto, Hinata used an air palm, while Naruto used a gravity cannon and knocked one back. Unable to cut the chain before they realized what had happened, they were both swung around the tree. Naruto had become more composed. Demon Brothers. Kirigakure rogues. I should have known he wanted you dead this badly. They're Chunin level. Hinata and Sasuke gazed at him. What are you saying? Kakashi. Sensei, I think it's time this mission goes straight to A rank. Bounties will have to suffice for what they can't cover themselves. If the bounties aren't enough, we'll take the rest from Gato when he's dead. Naruto said before Kakashi emerged from the bush. Well, this mission is off the scope. Tazuna lied to us, so unless we decided to keep going, we're heading back. Unfortunately, that would cause problems with Kushina, and that never ends well. So, we're continuing the mission off the scope, as an A rank. Kakashi responded. The part about Kushina made everyone, including Tazuna, tense. Naruto simply grinned. Even in her absence, his mother was helpful, and for that reason, she's an excellent mother. True. Although, if she were my mother, I'd freak. I'm not even interested in knowing. Good, because I wasn't going to say anything on that subject. They resumed their stroll after Naruto cut off his conversation with Akane. 2 days later, they arrived at a boat and boarded it. As the Kitsune warrior, Naruto had dispatched scouts in advance. When he did so, he did not wear his mask. In this manner, he would avoid raising suspicions. Hinata was impressed when they arrived at the bridge. Although he appeared unimpressed, Sasuke was somewhat impressed. Neither Kakashi nor Naruto were at all surprised. Naruto made a remark about it. You know, Tazuna. You probably could have made it a bit bigger. I know you could have with your skills. Tazuna took hold of his head in a manner reminiscent of Naruto. Yeah, about that. We don't have the money to go any bigger, and this bridge is the hope of our country. So, yeah. With my skills I could, but with the resources, I couldn't. Naruto gave a nod. He knew exactly what was going on. It was quiet for the remainder of the boat ride. Naruto dispelled his shadow clones upon landing. Damn. 2 others, one of which is a hunter.nin from Kiri. The other has a Zanbato on his back. Kakashi nodded after giving him a look. Naruto stiffened. While Sasuke and Hinata dove, Kakashi yelled, "Get down!" and knocked Tazuna to the ground. Naruto let it nick his right hand as he leapt over it, resulting in the appearance of a sword in the same hand. It was the same one he used to murder the Yondaime Mizukage and decapitate Mizuki. He made a fox mask with his left hand flying over his face. All of this took place in a matter of seconds. Shortly after, he landed, the Zanbato colliding with a tree. On top of it, someone is standing. Kitsune gazed at him while wearing a mask. Zabuza Momochi, and I thought you were loyal to Mei-chan. The man on the Zanbato gave him a look. Oh shit. It's you. The harbinger of death, the one who took down the Yondaime Mizukage, Sanbi no Yagura, a Jinchuriki in his own right, on his own. The Kitsune warrior. Fuck my life. Consider it fucked, Zabuza. First let me ask you this. Why did you go rogue? Kitsune replied. Zabuza gave him a direct look. To find you. I didn't know where the hell you were. And regardless of the fact you are an Uzumaki, I wasn't able to find you to train you like I wanted to. More personal than anything else. Okay then, head back to Gato, and tell him the Kitsune warrior has returned with his warning intact. Zabuza gazed at him intently. Pardon? As he moved behind Zabuza, Kitsune remarked, he'll know. If you survive. He struck the back of Zabuza's neck to knock him unconscious and said, also, if I find out you made an attempt to kill Meiterumi, I will not kill you personally. Instead, my mother will. You know full well who that is. Zabuza had appeared beside the nearby hunter ninja. Naruto interrupted him, saying, I'm sorry I didn't stop by before you did this, but I didn't see the need to. You were. I know full well you're on his side. He's lucky I already met him before you went rogue. His reasoning, though childish, makes sense. However, it does not give enough grounds to go rogue. I am willing to give him another chance, but when he wakes up tell him to give Gato that message. Hunter.nin gave a nod. He took the body of Zabuza with him. Hinata and Sasuke gazed at him. Naruto.kun, are you sure that was a good idea? Kitsune gave a headshake. If I did, he would have come with us, instead of back to Gato. Kakashi gave nod. Gato has screwed the pooch. Before we leave, Naruto is going to kill him. Once more, Kitsune shook his head. His sword was still out, but before he could replace it in his seal, the 4-foot long katana began to hurt Naruto because his mask had dissolved. Kitsune is, Naruto isn't. The two of us may be the same, but no one but those here know that. He let out a painful scream. He hadn't done that in a long time. Hinata grabbed Kakashi as he ran toward him. Don't interfere with this. He would drop the sword if he wanted to, but something is up with it. Sasuke and Kakashi gazed at her. First to speak was the former. What the hell are you talking about? Akane's Yuki is being sent to the sword, but that's not what I'm worried about, since Akane isn't moving herself. The sword is reacting negatively to the Yuki, and in turn is hurting Naruto in the process. Hinata said quietly. As much as I want to scream bloody murder right now, it wouldn't help him out one bit. We should stick around, but we can't move him, or force the sword out of his hands. She caught Tazuna's attention. Why is that? That's because Akane has Yuki, not chakra. Yuki is normally harmful to humans. Having Akane within him since the day he was born has given him some resistance to Yuki. Using too much could also kill him, though. That's what I'm worried about. Sasuke stiffened. He thought Hinata's recent statement was strange. The others in the room stared at him and said, wait a minute. I don't think the sword is rejecting the Yuki. Maybe the Yuki is forcing it to evolve or something. There's that possibility. Tazuna glanced at Naruto after glancing at Sasuke. His eyes narrowed. He saw something else when he widened them. He could see how things were progressing. Turning to Tazuna, everyone said, I don't believe it. The Yuki, as you call it, isn't just being sent to the blade. It's being absorbed. I don't know how I know, but for some reason, I can just feel it. As Naruto's screams of agony subsided, his katana began to glow. The glow grew brighter and brighter. It changed from a 4-foot katana to a 7-foot broadsword that resembled the outline of a fish. It looks almost exactly like the Force Stealer from Final Fantasy VII, with the exception that it is more orange in color. A voice inside Naruto's head said, wielder of this blade, speak your name. Do you know who said that, Akane? It was the sword. Tell it your name out loud. As if speaking to no one, he said, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto Uzumaki, I will let you in on a little secret. Your katana has evolved into the form it is now. You know how to listen to your sword, and this will help you out. Everyone stared at him as if he had gone insane. How so? I don't get what you're saying. And what exactly do I call you? If you evolved from my Uzuto, then surely you have a name yourself, if you're actually talking to me. Aside from Hinata. Hinata glanced at him, then at his sword, and back at him again. Well, I am similar to what one calls the Force Stealer. In fact, I am a brother sword to it. I found little faith in humans, demons or anything of the like. That was when Gonta of the Fiends told me about you. Speaking of which, he's the reason I came around. That damn Madara is going to be the death of us all if he is not stopped. Anyway, my name has been forgotten, even to me. However, if you wish, you may call me Force Stealer, since we are virtually twin swords. The difference between him and me is that I'm a lot more picky than he is. Picky, huh? I guess that means you chose to come to me, instead of me having to find you. I doubt you are sure about me, so you want to see for yourself. Am I correct in saying that? Said Naruto. You are better than I was told, and that's saying something. Yes, that is the case to a T. This evolution was only temporary. If I decide to leave, it will return to its original form. By the way, I already know of the ultimatum you gave Gato, and I agree completely. So until that point, I would suggest you learn how to use my abilities to your advantage. I will go into more detail later. At least I know that I can rely on him. The best swords to have on your side are those that choose their wielders, Naruto recalled his mother saying. While that is true, that is not why I'm here. You can hear what I'm thinking. What an odd idea that is. Even though I've seen stranger things. Yeah, I figured as much with Akane being within you. She has changed a bit since I last talked to her. You do realize I can hear you, right? I just have my reasons for wanting to stick with him. I'm not going into the details, because if I did, you probably would call it bullshit. I see. Well then, I guess things would happen the best the way they are now. I will expect an explanation later on, though. When you do, you will receive it. When she does discuss what happened that day, Akane becomes easily agitated because she dislikes discussing it. She is aware that it is not something I enjoy seeing. I also discovered a new application for the gravity cannon because of this. In the most literal sense, she has a deadly temper, just like my mother. Ah, shut it. It's true, you know that. Nevertheless, I'm happy you showed me how to use the gravity cannon. It is beneficial. Oh, and how exactly can you use it? The thing is at least 500 feet long? I don't use it that way. You will see it, along with my father's signature jutsu, if you happen to be around when Gato emerges. He will be held accountable for his disrespectful treatment of this village. Tazuna, take them to your home. I'll be in the forest for a while. I have to take care of a few things, and then I'll head there. I remember where it is, and tell Inari that I'll be there when I can. Naruto had told them. Kakashi gave him a look. He was attempting to ascertain why he was not progressing at this time. Kakashi. Sensei, you're gonna have to give it up. I'm not saying anything yet, because it isn't set in stone, and can change in an instant. He gave a few nods. Don't go after his head yet. Give him some time to let it sink in that he's screwed, Kakashi replied. I was planning on it. Also, I gave a shock to Zabuza's nervous system when I hit him. It will go away after about a week. He knows he can't beat me, especially after what I did to Yagura. Why else would he tell me? Fuck my life? Naruto inquired prior to departing. 10 minutes later, at Tazuna's house. Naruto was not with Team 7, but they had reached the front door. Tazuna pulled it open. A young woman entered and said, Tsunami, I'm home, and you'll never believe who they sent. Welcome back, father. But what do you mean by, Kakashi, is that you? Kakashi gave a nod. Well, I just wish Naruto came back with you. Inari's been different. I can't get through to him. I think that Naruto's the only one who can right now, Tsunami replied. Tazuna and the rest of the team grinned. Tsunami, they came as a group of 4, plus me. The other went into the forest, probably to train himself with his sword. He's after Gato, since he didn't listen 7 years ago. Tsunami noticed something etched in Tazuna's face. When she realized it, her eyes widened. Please tell me he's got something to say to Inari. I'm not sure what to do right now. Tazuna gave a nod. At that moment, a young boy emerged, his face icy. He grinned when he saw Tazuna. Grandpa. Inari. They gave one another hugs. Then he turned to Kakashi's group. What are you doing here? You're gonna die if you go against Gato. Hinata stopped Sasuke from doing something by extending her arm. She seemed to be the more sensible one. If anyone that goes against Gato died, then your grandfather would be dead already. He's not dead, so that means not everyone that goes against Gato dies. I know for a fact Naruto-kun won't. Inari appeared on the verge of losing it. I wouldn't go for the mental or emotional breakdown. If he saw you like that when he gets here, he might slap you. Trust me, they hurt like hell. Sasuke said, grasping his cheek. Inari's eyes grew wide, but not out of terror. It was shock, surprise, and joy. He was now full of energy and asked, where is he? Why isn't he with you? What happened? He's training with his sword right now. Something that normally wouldn't help him much, but given the fact it evolved a few minutes ago, he had to get used to it. Kakashi replied. And with that ultimatum right after Kaisa's death, I wouldn't be surprised if he went after Gato right here and now. They heard a voice behind them. I told you, didn't I? I'm planning on waiting until he gets the news I'm back. He'll get a bit more reckless, and probably fire Zabuza, freeing him from killing Tazuna. From there, I'll kill that cat, and then wipe out his entire legion of thugs. That's the least I can do for this place. Naruto was sitting in a chair when everyone turned to face the voice. Inari, Hinata is right. And Sasuke, I wouldn't have hit him. If I did, it would kill him. I'm not about to disrespect Kaiza by killing his son. You remember what he said before he was executed by Gato? Live your life, so you don't have any regrets. Protect what you've got with both arms. Inari appeared embarrassed. Naruto went on. I know you haven't been living up to those words. The last words Kaiza said to you, and yes, I could tell they were for you. He lived that way until the day he died. He wanted you to do the same. What else could I do? You just left, and not once did you tell me anything about that. Inari sighed. Because I figured you understood what he was saying at that point. Now that I see you didn't follow through with it, I'm here. You need to get your act together, and stop crying about the past. Time doesn't wait for you, and neither will life. Besides, Gato is going to die before I leave Wave this time. His body is going to be crushed under intense gravity, leaving no trace of him. Naruto looked at Inari. Kakashi nodded and said, same room as before, Tsunami? I'll be sticking to the roof. It's a better place for me. This place needs a hero, just like Kirigakure did when I went there. Meaning, I'll get some practice in on the lower thugs. Naruto said as he arose. He walked out and leapt to the roof, saying, remember what Kaiza was like. Be like him. You can do it, you just need the determination. Think about what I had said, Inari. In order to obtain a more precise reading of the area, Naruto began to meditate. Right then, he was looking for any danger he could. Then Hinata appeared beside him. Are you okay? I know what happened back there was a little dangerous. Naruto closed his eyes and said, yes. Right now, I have things to take care of. I'm going to need some live practice with the Force Stealer. I know that my skill with a sword won't matter if I'm not used to it. That's the reason I'm searching for the lower thugs right now. Practice makes perfect, right? Hinata sat down and said, right. Naruto, I think we need to talk about something, at least while we're here. Naruto opened his eyes. I was wondering when you were going to tell me what you were hiding. You've been hiding it for maybe a week. I've noticed it for that long. Hinata gave a nod. I just didn't think it would be a good idea to have someone else know what I found. You taught me sealing, but what I found was something not even I could understand until the day before we left the village for this mission. I realized it was something about Biju. Akane is a Biju, so maybe she could find out what it is. Naruto gave her a direct look. Well then, we will wait until after Gato is dead. That way, I don't have to get distracted. Is that fine by you? Hinata gave a nod. I think it would be a good idea to protect Tazuna and his family in groups of 2. You and me in one team, and Sasuke and Kakashi in the other, suggested Hinata. Naruto gave a headshake. I think it would be better if we went in 3 groups. Kakashi. Sensei is good enough on his own. I have a lot more experience than both you and Sasuke. This means that I'll be good enough on my own, as would Kakashi. Sensei. The reason you and Sasuke would be paired up is because of the fact that he could awaken his Sharingan at any point. The moment he does, it will make the 2 of you even more dangerous. Hinata gave a startled look. Why? I know you love me, and I do love you. However, this is not a question of love, it's a question of tactics. The majority of what I'll be doing is either training with Force Stealer or meditating. During meditation, I'll be looking for anything that has any relation to Gato, along with his hideout. You and Sasuke get along quite well, and I know you wouldn't go after him in any way, shape or form. However, if he unlocks the Sharingan, I'll be able to figure it out easily. The same for when you activate your Byakugan. There is chakra flow, and that is something I can detect easily, even when searching out people, or ninja. Kakashi is not as good as I am with that particular skill, and I am second only to my mother. I mean, my ability at sensing the chakra flow is beyond that of the Byakugan. No offense. Hinata gave a headshake. None taken, I guess. I'm beginning to think something else could happen. Once Gato finds out that you're protecting Tazuna, he'll be after you. The only ones to know who I am outside the team or the Rookie 9, are in this house, part of the village council, and Mei Terumi. She kinda figured it out on her own, though. I'm not worried either. I can handle cage-level opponents, and have done so before. What makes it worse, I was only 5 then. I'm 12 now, and I can only get stronger. That's something I've learned, if not in lessons, in experience, said Naruto. Hinata gave a nod. So, me and Sasuke will be one group, and work on protecting the family, or Tazuna. Kakashi. Sensei will be doing the same solo, and he'll be working on your own. Am I right so far? Naruto gave a nod. Hinata gave him a slap. What was that for? He asked, massaging his cheek. Hinata was a little irate, and Naruto noticed it. You know I love you, and I know you love me. So why not choose the happiness you'd get from working with me? He searched for something to say and thought, guess I'll just say it. Hinata, I know that if I stuck with you I'd be happier. However, I have the experience needed for something like this. You don't, and neither does Sasuke. You're gonna need the strength in numbers. Besides, you know I've got the shadow clone jutsu. And I can make upwards of 1,500 with ease, and not feel tired. Kakashi Sensei also has more experience than I do. However, if you find yourself in a situation you can't handle on your own, someone needs to be there, and I'm thinking about how to do that, even if I'm training. Hinata's gaze was fixed on his eyes. You don't know what to really say at this point, so you're winging it, huh? Naruto cringed inwardly and said, kinda, but it is the truth. I'm looking for a way to make it work the way it should, but nothing's coming to mind. Hinata had lost her anger. She was aware of what was happening. He had to do it this way even though he didn't enjoy it. She had an idea. Is it possible to put the Hiraishin seal on a piece of paper and you can teleport to me through it? Naruto grimaced. Naruto shook his head, saying, you didn't even think of that, did you? You know, you may have experience, and you might be smart, but you're utterly clueless when it comes to relationships. Naru, get her in here. I got something to say on this. She may not like it, but it's the truth on the matter. Why does it feel like I won't enjoy this? Because you probably won't. She frowned and raised an eyebrow when Naruto said, Hinata, Akane has a few things to say to you, but she won't say anything to me. They both began to meditate while she continued to nod. The mindscape Akane was directly in front of Naruto and Hinata. Hinata, I can almost guarantee that Naruto won't like this bit of information, but he inherited his cluelessness from his father. Naruto simply stared at her in awe. Hinata gazed thoughtfully. You may not believe me, but it's true. Minato was so clueless of his feelings for Kushina until she was about to leave him. I still don't get how the hell it happened, and I hoped he wouldn't be so damn dense, but that just wasn't the case. I'd have to ask Kushina-san on that bit of info, but it would make sense. By the way, what really happened here with Naruto-kun? I mean, he did say he met them before, but I didn't think something like this would have happened. Naru, it would probably be a good idea for you to work on your training with Force Stealer in here. You may not gain the physical ability, but you will have the muscle memorization. That should help a bit. Despite giving Akane a weird look, Naruto nodded and turned to leave. Hinata remained and took a seat beside Akane. What is it you wanted to tell me? I said part of it. As for your question, he was here when Kaiza died. You can ask Tsunami what he did to save her. Only myself and Naruto were aware of what he said to Gato before he left. Even though it was only a shadow clone. So, Gato is the reason Kaiza died. Inari suffered a lot from his death, and with Naruto leaving, it wasn't a good day for him, was it? I would imagine not. Since Naruto used a shadow clone, and he gave me access to his memories, I found out exactly what he was going to do if Gato didn't stop there. He didn't, and I can honestly say, he's out for blood. He's able to remain calm and collected, and that's partially my fault. However, even the best of humans snap. I fear one day he will, and that will be his death. If for some reason, he doesn't before he dies, he would have a stronger will than anyone I've ever seen in my life. And that's saying something. I know that even deities would have a hard time swaying his will, but if my theory is correct, and so far it has, not even they can sway him. Hinata's expression changed as she gazed at her. She didn't understand. I see you are confused at that. Allow me to explain, then. How much willpower would it take to resist the word of a deity? A lot, I would imagine. Try an insanely large amount, not seen anywhere, even in the Uzumaki clan. Their stubbornness is, or was, their best strength, and greatest weakness. Their will stems from that. His will is far beyond anything I've seen in a human. With all emotion gone from her mind, Hinata gazed at her. I know he has more will than a lot of people, but for you to not see anything like that in a human? That's just not natural. I kind of like it. I wasn't sure you would. However, you still liked him, even when you found out about me, so I can't say I'm surprised. Most humans hate me, and in turn, hate him. They don't show it anymore, thanks to Kushina, but they still hate him. I know. I've still been hearing rumors about him in the village. Some of which, though only recently, I know are true. The rest of which, I'm either not sure, or don't believe for a second. A few people went to the hospital thanks to me. Hinata replied. They say something bad about Naruto-kun, and I'm around. They're in the hospital for a few days. If not, they lost their sanity. Akane laughed and said, "Women can be so devious. That aside, I'm glad you're on his side. He probably wouldn't admit it, but he seriously loves you. Just like your mother tried getting his father, you're after him. Can't say that's genetic, but I can't deny it seems more than coincidence." Hinata's eyes were closed. She told me about that, and honestly, I thought the same thing. I asked myself several times if the reason I want him was because my mother wanted his father. I still don't know the answer, but I'm willing to do anything I can to find out for myself. I know he doesn't like fangirls, so I've been trying to avoid that, but I just don't know what to do. Akane let out a sigh. At this point, if you're not a fangirl in his eyes, just keep doing what you're doing. You've already got his heart, even if he doesn't realize how much, and he doesn't. I know one thing for sure. His feelings for you are strong. Stronger than they are for his mother. The decision to split you apart was not his first decision. In fact, it was the third. Hinata's mouth dropped open. Don't be so surprised. However, one day, I hope you will be able to use a gift I'll be giving you one day. Whether it be through him, or on my own, I don't know. Hinata's stutter returned a little as she asked, "Gee, gift? What do you want to give me?" "It's something that should help you out immensely, however, I think I can give you part of it now." Hinata simply gave her a hopeful glance. This gift can be a curse, or a blessing. Which one it is, I can't say for sure. However, it will hurt like hell. I can promise you that. Then why give it to me? Because one day, I feel you will need it. If something happens, and Madara comes after you, it will be a last resort, but you'll be safe for a while. This is my own piece, and Naruto doesn't know about it. Right now, you won't have much control over it, and it will only activate under 2 conditions. 1. Your life is in danger. 2. Your rage builds up too much, and you explode. Both must be met, and you must realize the first. What will happen then? I can't guarantee the target of your anger will survive. However, even if it does happen, you must not let it control you. I can give you a small portion of my Yuki, and you could use it as your own chakra. It's not even at the level of 1 tail, which is far less than 1/9 of my full strength. I won't lose much, but what you get will only grow with time. Do you know what angers you the most? Hinata gave a nod. Akane nodded, but Hinata gestured for her to approach. The caged bird seal, which hasn't changed, and those who try to kill or threaten Naruto-kun. Other than that, nothing really angers me. Akane was clearly startled when she whispered something in her ear. I take it you don't want him knowing about that yet, do you? Not yet, but one day, hopefully. Also, not many people know this, but I know of another Jinchuriki in the area. Well, he was one last time I saw. He had the 4 tails, and told me he was just a wandering traveler. I saw otherwise, since his chakra was similar to Naruto-kun's. The 4 tails. That damn lava monkey still owes me some money. Hinata shrugged, but she cocked her head. Anyway, he said that he wanders aimlessly, and this was before I actually met up with Naruto-kun. It wasn't until later that I realized he had about half of your Yuki. That would be about right. Still, from what I remember, Naruto's mother was one of those who could summon them. I'm not sure right now if he wants Yoko, Kitsune, Lava Monkey, Archfiends, or Toads. Toads? His father signed with the Toads. His mother signed with the Lava Monkeys. He has summoned an Archfiend already, and then there's me. He already knows of this, and he has yet to decide which one he wants. His mother already knows of the dilemma, and it doesn't help that Tsunade wants him to go for slugs. It's a tough choice. If I were him, I'd go with the Kitsune, Yoko, but that's just me. Hinata sighed. Mind if I ask why? You're the reason. People think of you as cruel and vicious, even though you're actually calm and nice. That kind of deception is good, and it would be something that proves that I care for Naruto, regardless of who he is, or what he is. Explain. I don't really care what he's got in him, or what he can really do. I know he's strong, but he doesn't throw around his power. In fact, he tries to hide it. What's more is, he's not blinded by power, and doesn't give in to the darkness. He's the light of everything I hold dear, and nothing can change that. Akane grinned. I see you finally answered your own question. Hinata noticed the smirk and turned to face her. What do you mean? Naruto approached them and remarked, she means a question you either ask yourself repeatedly, or asked her. It's the former, Naru. Naruto gave a nod. I'm glad you care for me that much. I am a little surprised, but it's not going to keep me from wanting to protect you any way I can. I have a long way to go to reach my goal, and I know I won't be able to do so easily. By the way, you did think about finding a way to use the Hiraishin without use of seals. I think I found something interesting. I'll fill you in on it later. We won't be able to do so easily, and the consequences could be drastic, so I'll only say it when I know it could be safe. I don't want you dying before you have to, and if that means merging my soul with yours, I'll do that. However, that won't be easy, either. Both of them gave a nod. Hinata, I'll be meditating in here for a while. I'll need to cool my head if I want to stay sane in a fight. In the meantime, let the others know about the cycles I came up with. I know you don't like them, and neither do I, but it's the best chance we have, in case someone else comes along. Also, if you run into Zabuza again, flare your chakra. I'll know, and I'll come straight to you. Check my pouch, and take one of the chakra-infused shuriken. Keep it with you at all times, and I'll be there when you flare your chakra. Deal? Deal, was Hinata's response. Just don't hurt yourself, Naruto.kun. Akane looked at him and said, he won't, I'll make sure of that. With a nod, Hinata departed from the mindscape. Get to work, Naruto. It won't be easy for you to maintain sanity with your anger. Naruto entered the field and began to meditate. Yeah, I know. I'm still curious about him. He's different, but I believe Gato is to blame. 2 days later, Hinata was, as she should have been, on the bridge. On the way, she had dealt with a couple of thugs, but nothing that required Naruto's assistance. Naruto was practicing Force Stealer in the forest. You're wearing yourself out. You're thinking too much into your movements. I know, but it's not easy using an evolved sword. The main problem is the change in weight and size. Once I can accommodate that, I'll be fine for the most part. You obviously know why you are training with me. Yeah. I need to get used to the new weight and size, and only then can I do what I want to. You even know the basics of adaptation. Why aren't you using them? He embedded Force Stealer in the ground and inserted his hands into the original cross seal. I adapt best in a fight. I'm a winger, mainly. I think on the spot, but if I'm not used to the weapon I'm using, my skill with said weapon is useless. Wait, why didn't I think of that before? He said. Shadow Clone Jutsu. The original Naruto drew out Force Stealer as about 100 others appeared. Why do this? Think about it. I adapt quickly, and learn on the fly. If I use it in somewhat real combat, that should help me out a bit. Good. You're actually thinking on how to train. Begin. Shouted the original. 3 appeared at once. One fell and was replaced by another. He was able to eliminate them by focusing more on dodging and countering than on wielding the blade. His thoughts eventually came to a near-complete halt, and Force Stealer saw it. It wasn't until he was finished that he called him on it. I must say, I'm impressed. You learn better in practical application than in theory. Naruto sat down because he was breathing heavily and said, yet another reason why I'm considered a winger. I think I need a break for a bit. Besides, Haku's coming. Force Stealer went poof, and the seal reappeared. I really like you, kid. I'm glad I stuck around. However, I'll seal myself into your hand with the previous seal, later. Haku entered the room. So, what are you doing out here? Training. I have to get better if I'm going to complete my task. I can't do that if I don't train. Luckily, I just now sat down for a break. Care to join me? With a nod, Haku took a seat beside him. We let Gato know of your little warning. Needless to say, he was scared shitless. Naruto answered, not surprised. By the way, what did you mean by your task? Gato is not that much of a threat to you, is he? Haku inquired. I wasn't talking about Gato. I'm talking about the reason Kitsune Warrior was born. At least, one of the reasons. There is more than one. Yeah. One is to hide my identity from those who actually hate me, and yes, there are a lot of people back home who do. Kitsune Warrior is an alias I came up with, thanks to the reason they hate me. Or to be more precise, said reason came up with it, replied Naruto. What else? Or should I even bother to know? It is to kill someone in particular. Not many know of my status of Kitsune Warrior, so I'd advise you keep that information a secret. Why do you wish to kill someone? A few reasons. The biggest one is he is the reason behind the reason people hate me, if that makes any sense. Haku was thinking. So, this man caused an event, which led to another event, which probably led to you becoming a Jinchuriki, or something, right? Naruto gave the man a look. You know, you're good. Well, I am highly observant. I can't really say you have yet to take a life. Zabuza can't say that either. In fact, I think he's actually afraid of you. Wouldn't be surprised. After all, I did take on a fully possessed Jinchuriki and win. Sure, it was the Sanbi, but hey, I was 5. Naruto grinned. What about you? I'm not really for taking lives. I'm more of a last resort for him, being his current apprentice. Although, I think that he believes I surpassed him, Haku responded. Given your chakra levels, I'd say you're almost even. At least from back then. He has increased his a bit since then, but not by much. By the way, how exactly did Gato react when you told him? Rewind. Zabuza was sleeping in a bed. A short, chubby man entered. So, the demon of the hidden mist is defeated? You're just a false advertiser. You weren't there, Gato. You have no idea who they are, but I have a feeling one of them, you do know. Zabuza escaped. Tell me, then. This ought to be decent, Gato answered. Gato went pale as he said, the Kitsune warrior was among them. Aside from that, Sharingan no Kakashi was there. That makes an A-rank shinobi, and an SS. Rank shinobi. Why he even let me live is a mystery in itself. He did notice that Zabuza was working for you. He did give me a warning for you. He said that he's back, with his warning intact. Do you know what that means? Haku inquired. To Zabuza's surprise, Gato said, you're going to need more than this to take that bastard down. I'll be looking for someone else to help you out in this. At least try to get along. Tazuna has gone to second priority. That Kitsune bastard is top priority. Kai flashback. I take it you rattled him badly back with your little warning? Haku responded. Naruto inquired. Have you figured out who it was yet? Haku gave a headshake. Figures. I doubt that he would go after me on his own. After all, I did take down a lot of powerful people. He knows of my reputation, and he'd need at least an S-rank shinobi to take me down alongside Zabuza, and even then it's likely that they wouldn't win. I'm more dangerous now than I was against Yagura, and even then I was holding back. Granted, I was weakened with both summons, but you get the idea. Summons? I'm not going into it. If you want an explanation about that particular fight, ask Zabuza. Near as I can figure, he was watching. Just know that I have no comments to make on the day. Aside from the fact I came up with the plan myself. With Akane, which he would say is the fox that was there. Naruto replied. If you'll excuse me, I have to train. You want the story of how I defeated Sanbi no Yagura? Ask Zabuza. He should know. Haku gave a nod. By the way, you're not going to believe this, but I'm actually a girl. Naruto remained motionless. I didn't anticipate that. And you're somehow okay with that, strangely enough, yes. If that's what you're thinking, I won't follow her around. Didn't say you were. I wasn't either, you said. Touché. Naruto? Inquired Haku. Sorry. Spaced out for a second. That last comment of yours was a little surprising. Quick question. Did you and Zabuza? You know. Haku's face turned scarlet. Haku stammered, No. Why would you think that? Naruto saw her embarrassment. Haku used that opportunity to collapse on her back, bleeding from the nose. You haven't, but you want to, don't you? Whoa, I didn't think she was a pervert. What? You think girls can't be perverts? Never said that. Although Anko refuses to acknowledge it, she is somewhat of a pervert herself. So you noticed? Yes, but she never acts that way around me. I'm happy for that. Let's get to a different section of the forest and continue to train. Yes, of course. However, I believe that some protection is necessary first. Come again. You'll see. Haku was still unconscious when Naruto left him 3 minutes later. 3 barriers and 4 seals on trees were generating genjutsu. As soon as Naruto emerged from the barriers, Haku was invisible. All right, it's time to find somewhere else. About time. Don't you want something from me? Yes, but you wouldn't want to give it. You care for Hinata too much to do that with me. You're correct, but at this moment, what do you know? I believe I can comply. You mean it? Akane asked with a sudden joy. She won't ever know as long as you don't tell her. A few days later, Zabuza and Haku were fully recovered. They awaited the anticipated arrival of the new assistants. A man entered wearing a black cloak with red clouds on it. The man appeared to have raven colored hair and onyx eyes. So, you're the one that's supposed to help us? The man said, yes. Zabuza said, you got a name, brat? Yes. Can you answer with more than 1 syllable? Maybe. Gato entered. Itachi, you better get along with him. That Kitsune warrior is a mess waiting to happen. The Kitsune warrior, you didn't say anything about him being the target, Itachi responded. You already know who he is, huh? Not who, but what. And that very what is something that my organization is after. However, I need him mangled and unconscious. Not dead, Itachi responded. Gato said as he left, whatever. As long as he is dead when you're done with him, I've got no problems. Zabuza said, so, your name is Itachi. Huh? Surname is Uchiha? And he nodded in response. That's strange. An Uchiha is guarding the secondary target, along with Kitsune Warrior, Zabuza said. Male or female? Does it matter? Male means my brother. Female means my mother, both of whom I couldn't find that night, Itachi said. Well, even the biggest rogues have quirks. Yours is that you failed what you were doing. Haku approached him. It was a male. There's another blonde male among them. Another is a Hyuga. This is obvious by her eyes. Among them is Sharingan Kakashi. Itachi gave Haku a look. The blonde one is my target. The others are useless to me. After glancing at him, Haku and Zabuza turned to face one another. They gave a nod. In a shunshin, Haku departed. Where is she going? Out. She does that. Why? I don't know, and frankly, I don't care. I doubt she wants to die a virgin, as I'm guessing you are. Zabuza responded. Zabuza said, well, I'll be. You really need to get yourself laid. Don't even think about it. With Naruto saw that Haku was returning. So, Haku. What's the news? Naruto stiffened in response to Haku's statement. The new arrival is here. He is specifically after you. As to why, I don't know. Black cloak. Red clouds on it? Yes. Haku was shocked to hear him say, well, back to the drawing board. What's his name? Or did he even tell you? Naruto stiffened as he said, Gato called him Itachi. He is a Uchiha. He is not a true criminal as most believe. His reason for exterminating his clan was on orders. I know this, because his clan was planning a coup d'etat. He was ordered to stop it. His brother is here, as well. This won't end good. Not by a long shot. What should I tell Zabuza? Haku gazed at him and said, give us 3 days, and be at the bridge. Bring Itachi with you. His eyes were now fixed on her with a determined expression. He will see things my way. Haku gave a nod. Anything else I should tell him? Yeah. Be prepared to face off with a partially pissed off Jinchuriki. Naruto replied. Now get lost. I have things to take care of. Despite raising an eyebrow, Haku left. Naruto himself had shunshined out. Tazuna's house that night. Inari, Tazuna, and Tsunami were members of Team 7. Naruto remarked, Kakashi, we've got more problems ahead. Hinata questioned, what could be worse than Zabuza at this point? Akatsuki, Sasuke, Hinata, and Kakashi all turned pale. They were aware that Naruto would be their target after hearing the name. Do you know who? Inquired Hinata. Sasuke stiffened and said, the brother of one here. No, he couldn't be. He is. Gato hired him, and now he's after Kitsune. Itachi knows that Kitsune is a Jinchuriki. I'm willing to bet he knows of which one as well, Naruto said. Everyone in the room started to perspire. By the way, Haku did tell me the guy seriously needs to get laid. Her words, not mine. She also said she was a virgin herself. That makes me more than a little suspicious, don't you think? Sasuke went pale. He shrugged his fear away and said, I don't even want to know. If Itachi is here, he's obviously going after Tazuna. Naruto gave a headshake. The first priority has been changed. As to why, I think Gato's looked at his options, and thinks that I'm a bigger threat than Tazuna. Everyone looked at him, wondering how dangerous he really is to Gato. Some of them sighed with relief, saying, if Itachi wants to take Akane away from me, he will need me alive. Thing is, I know the perfect way to stop him from using any of his Sharingan techniques. Heck, even make the fight between me and him one-sided. Sasuke's gaze widened. You're just going to let him kill you? Naruto gave a gloomy laugh. Abruptly, his voice became deeper. The new voice, which only Team 7 recognized, said, there is no problem here. Akane was the one. I did teach him a technique, not a jutsu that will force an opponent into his mindscape, thus forcing him into his own mindscape. Itachi himself will not be able to leave unless Naruto and myself are dead, meaning his efforts will be useless. Sasuke and Hinata were on the verge of passing out. More than Hinata, Sasuke. All Kakashi did was look at him. Akane, what the hell do you mean? Akane paused to allow Hinata to speak before saying, ask Hinata what happens to her Byakugan when she tries to activate it in his mindscape. The same would happen to a Sharingan user. I activate it, and it shuts off instantly. I can't even see anything with it before it shuts off. Exactly. And unless he knows how to anticipate moves from a split-second image, nothing will work in his favor. What's more is, Naruto's chakra levels are virtually limitless in there. The moment he uses any, it's automatically back to full Put simply, while Itachi has his own power source, Naruto's power source is all around him there, so Itachi can run out and perish forever, while Naruto has a limitless supply of chakra to use, even if he doesn't draw on mine. The downside to this particular technique is that, even though Itachi's full body is brought in there, Naruto's body will stay, making him collapse. This leaves him vulnerable to outside attack and death. Kakashi said, that should be considered a forbidden jutsu. Not when it isn't a jutsu in the first place. A jutsu uses chakra. This uses only one portion of chakra, not chakra period. It is pure spiritual energy that he uses. This is the reason it cannot be called a jutsu. At least, in my opinion. He was the center of attention. This made Hinata sigh. Akane, what do you think the possibility of Naruto-kun beating Itachi out here is? Honestly, less than 1% if he doesn't activate that Sharingan of his. In his mindscape, the odds of him winning against Itachi is far above 99%, but not quite a completely decided fight. That's all I can really say on that. Both Hinata and Sasuke nodded. Kakashi said, it makes sense. Being in his mindscape basically makes it a home. Field advantage. That is one advantage that Itachi could never get. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Kakashi. Tazuna was the first to speak. Kakashi, what do you mean by that? Naruto and Itachi are both from the same village. For that reason, there is no real home. Field advantage in this realm. However, Kyuubi stopped. In a mindscape, the owner of the mindscape has full control over it, and has a virtually limitless supply of energy, chakra, and the like. The only way Itachi could take him down, as far as I can tell, is if Naruto makes too many mistakes. That's not likely. Everybody gave a nod. So, the main thing we have to worry about is if Zabuza decides to take advantage of his limp body. That's a little much, isn't it? Kakashi responded. She nodded, perplexing the others. True as that is, a ninja must do everything they can to succeed. Hinata, you remember that little gift I gave you? She asked. That gift will come in handy here. I would rather explain it to you in private, but at this point, I don't think it would be a good idea. Empathy and telepathy are two of the most noticeable features, but only with me and Naruto. Remember that, and you'll be good. Wait, what do you mean only with you and Naruto? Sasuke inquired, focusing on the gift rather than the other events. I think I could tell you what the gift was, but it was only part of it. She didn't explain the rest of it, so I don't know much about it. Now I know something about this, and I think I can understand why she gave it to me in the first place. Hinata responded with a blush on her face. And on that, you're right. Just know that Naruto hasn't gotten those particular abilities yet, so it's only a one-sided thing for the time being. I hope you get the general idea so far. I know what they both do. As to why you're included, I don't know. As Shikamaru put it, though we are not the same, we are one. Therefore, I know what he thinks, and if you can tell him something through thought alone, I can hear it as well. Of course, until he can use it himself. If you contact me like that, he won't hear a thing. Hinata and Kakashi both nodded. Sasuke remained somewhat perplexed. Why is Naruto Nissan talking like that? I mean, it's kind of weird, Inari responded. Because in a sense, I am Naruto, but at the same time, not Naruto. It's confusing for someone of your age, so I won't go into detail on that. After 3 blinks, Inari nodded. Now I get it. You're not Naruto. Nissan talking, but someone else talking through him. Everyone stared at Akane for a full minute, saying, did not see that coming. What? I didn't expect him to understand it that quickly. I mean, the concept was hard for Naruto to grasp, and he and I shared a mind link naturally for 4 years when I explained it. Hinata merely gave a nod. Well, he is extremely dense, especially in most relationships. Nah, he isn't, he just doesn't want to admit it. Through said link I know how he feels about certain people. Everyone here is on good terms, but every now and then, his mind wanders to 2 places in particular. Suna and Kumo, to be more precise. Kakashi questioned, why am I not surprised? But nobody responded. I'm willing to bet that there are people in particular that his mind wanders to in those places? Yes, and I think you know who as well. Gaara, Yugito, and Kurabi, correct? Spot on. Still, he knows that Kurabi can handle himself, and Yugito is training under him. Gaara, however, he worries about more, being as he was always alone, and without him, Gaara might have gone insane. If something highly traumatizing gets to him, he won't be the same until they meet each other again. Kakashi said. If that happens, hopefully they remember that promise they made. Hinata inquired, Kakashi. Sensei, out of sudden curiosity, what exactly did they promise each other? I think we should let Naruto handle this one. Not tonight. We have 3 days until they strike, but that will be everything. Tomorrow evening, he'll explain. Everybody gave a nod. Anyway, we're going to the roof. It's a lot better than the room, and we both tend to like watching the stars every now and then. I think the trip caused that. Naruto faded away as Kakashi nodded. Anyone else bugged by that other person with Naruto's body? Tsunami inquired.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.